hear what I said?
What the hell? Hello, freakazoids. How the hell are you guys doing out there? Alright. Well, thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. There you go. Alright. Anyways, I changed up the coloring schemes and everything. I've just been, I don't know, kind of down and out doing my shows. It's depressing. So I figured, maybe if I, try making something, make it a little different or something like that, see how it goes. Hard to say, Jason, if it'll be a good show or not, but hopefully it will be. What do you guys think of the set here? I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna use I like that logo better. I changed my YouTube everything. I didn't like the other stuff was just kind of old. This one makes me feel differently. So the new sign. I'm talking about the whole screen. Hello. Let's start communicating again. We're doing that thing again where everybody's dead right out of the gate. Let's talk. Speak. Say something. Hey, thanks, Paul Marino. There you go. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And then, like, my main scene is this one over here. I think it's like 50 times better than what I had before. It took me like a long time to make this stuff. But anyways, so this is the other one. I guess if you guys, I don't know. I think something would show up in here if there was a super chat or something, and then I think if I turn on the event list, it'll talk about. Hopefully it updates. I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Looks like one from before, but we could try that one out later. See if that works. Yeah. I think it looks pretty good. Kind of makes me feel like I'm in doing true crime again. With the setup. So there you go. But let's see. I don't know. Like the other night, the way I feel during the shows, I don't like the feeling, Like, I just don't like it. I used to like it when, I felt like I was supported by everybody, and then now it's just like a struggle every night, and I'm trying to make it, And I don't feel like I should have to do that. So, it just makes me feel really, down. And then when I do like the shows, I get so frustrated in them. And then the show itself, I don't really even want to do them. Like I was doing the show last time, and I just sort of, I had all the stuff that I wanted to talk about, but because it was so dead, like nobody was communicating, there was no support, etc. It doesn't make me want to keep doing it. So I don't know how to unfeel that way, but I'm trying not to. It is what I feel like, though. I mean, how do you tell somebody, hey, don't feel a certain way? I love when people use that advice to somebody. Hey, just don't feel that way. Well, how do you do that? I don't know. Nobody knows. But anyways, and I'm sure you don't want to hear about that shit. In the Angelica Brophy case, I stumbled upon the interview with one of her workmates. Yeah, it was just kind of crazy, Karen, because we had a night where it was like, we recovered. And then the next night was the worst night of the month. So it's like you have this one night where it was so great and we made up for a couple of the other crappy nights. And then the next night was the worst night of the entire month. So I don't know. It's too much of a yo-yo for me. It's like a... Yeah, yeah, the coffee cup. Maybe we'll make that one. Gray Hughes Investigates coffee mug, just like that. That is kind of cool looking, isn't it? You know? You got the, and I sort of like the, like Gray Hughes Investigates little square up there. I like that. I think everything's better. I like hell, if I comment in here, watch this. What's going on? And then I put it on the screen. I think, okay, can I do it on this one or maybe on this one? See, I like that logo. See, that's my new circular logo. GHI with a small little magnifying glass, like the eye. What do you think, Cindy? I don't think so. Let me go look. I don't think so. Did you just... Oh, wait, hold on a second. Well, there you go. I did get it. Thank you. Carl with a C. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and there's a challenge in there by Karen saying she'll donate $10 if... that was very kind of you there, Carl with a C, even though that's a different name there. And then, but Karen said she'll do a 10 PayPal if someone does 10 in there. All right, but anyways, don't you think that logo looks pretty cool right there? That little circular thing? I think it's pretty good. Yeah, all right. And then I'm trying to make it so like I changed the coloring of the messages so that it looks more like the scene. Maybe I could make that a little bit more like that color in there. Maybe I'll try to do that. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. We'll just see how it goes. Yeah, I just think it's way better. Like, I think this is one of the best looking scenes in the entire true crime world, wouldn't you say? And then also, I made one for this is the main scene when I'm moving, working on something, right? Like, I think that's big enough, right, where you guys can see it and everything. And then I have the phone calls one. But look at see right there where the callers, when you're talking, see how it's moving around, 1, 2, 3. So it has the phone number there, and then it has, also I can have messages on the screen while they're, while the phone call's coming in. And then, but you see, like there's a phone number there, and then their voice will show up on the, as the waveform there. Like 1, 2, 3, see that? So when they call in, that's what it would do. So what do you think of that? And then down here just still has the same message, if somebody sends in a super chat or something, it shows up below my head in that other box there. So there you go. That's basically the new setup there. It's really about it. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I could let me see if I think I can turn the waveform on this one. Because we're going to have we're playing this interview from, let's see, it was one of the co-workers of Angelica Brophy. All right, it's one of the co-workers. And she, she's like 20 minutes long, and she explains the whole thing, and it was in the Sun magazine, or, I guess it's called the U.S., this one right here, or I'll put the link in there if anybody wants to check it out. There's the link in the video. And there was a long interview in there, and it kind of gives, I think, a little bit more, like, better information on some of the stuff. So we'll do that first, and then we'll just kind of discuss it again. What does the new information mean? And then we'll go and do Nancy Guthrie, where, let's see, Crime Junkies, I guess, they put out more of what was in the first letter. The second letter, it sounds like we already had exactly what was in the second letter. But then they mentioned this lady who has the theory on the what do you call that, the wrench attacks. And so I went and found her. I think Jennifer Coffindaffer got it from this lady, and then that lady has a Substack. So I thought we could take a look at some of those and see what that means in that case. All right, so here we go. All right.
Nothing in life really prepares you for one of
I think it's about right here.
Marcos, California. We're home.
Thank you for joining us today, Ashley. Could you start off by telling me a little bit about yourself and how you know Angelica?
Yeah, my name's Ashley Seitz. I met Angelica about 3 years ago when we opened a new hospital together here in San Marcos, California. We're both emergency room nurses, work in the night shift, and so we've spent a lot of time together over the last couple of years. And then we're also line dancing partners, so we have spent lots of time both at work and outside of work together.
And obviously, the search for Angelica has dragged into now a third week. How are you feeling with this search still ongoing?
I mean, it's pretty awful. Nothing in life really prepares you for one of your best friends vanishing. We're part of a really tight-knit group at work. There's 5 of us. We call ourselves the Taco Bellas because Taco Bell is how we get through a lot of our night shifts. But
yeah, I mean, we've heard some of that, right? We already heard that in some of the articles. I don't know when exactly this was done, but it seems like in the articles they left out some of the more important stuff if this was an earlier interview. Could just be articles from yesterday, so this could be new, or it could be like they're finally putting out the full interview. I don't know.
It's just really, it's so surreal. I don't have great words for it. I've had to step back into my life and go to work and things like that, and this doesn't feel real most days, or sometimes I'm just overcome by emotion, and I just want this to come to an end. I want to find her.
And that was going to be my next question of what has it been like at work? What is the environment, especially you and your close group of friends? How are you feeling in the days since she's not been there?
It's haunting and awful and all-consuming, and I have to walk by her locker, or our group of friends we have events coming up that we have to now talk about. Like, are we still doing this? Are we still going here? Are we literally going to go to a Padres game and sit next to an empty seat? Like, what are we doing? And you don't really know how to move forward. Obviously, our main goal and focus is to find her. But as this continues to progress and extend, your life also continues, and you have to start facing these things, and it's been incredibly difficult to navigate. Probably,
I don't know, Cindy. She's also been kind of, she's one of those ones. I don't know. She's a little too much for me. I'm not really into it.
Probably,
she's the one that was like, that's the one that like trashed my. I mean, I just asked her a couple simple questions, and they like, I don't know, basically removed me because I don't believe what they believe. I believe in. I think she did something to herself, and they probably didn't like that.
As an ER nurse of 4 children, this is still probably the most difficult thing I've ever had to navigate in my life.
And how are you coping with this? Are you leaning onto the other girls who are part of the Taco Bellas?
And she always uses the stupid terms like my village, it's like.
Yeah. I mean, we have so much support at work amongst our small group. We have a ton of support. And then all of our work family really has stepped up to frequently check on us, ask if there's anything they can help with. And then for myself personally, I have a strong support group through my own family and friends that have reached out. The amount of people who have reached out to help that don't even know Angelica personally is just a testament to how strong our friendships were and how beautiful she was to everyone. We are running this Facebook group. I'm not a tech savvy person. It has been so far out of my comfort zone, and one of my best friends has stepped up to help us run it. It's just been so encouraging and inspiring in like humanity to see all these people just come out of the woodwork and say, we see you're struggling and we want to help.
Do you think you could walk me through some of Angelica's last steps? She was last seen on July 6th, and there's a couple of little details that the police have revealed. If she dropped off her daughter at camp, she was seen leaving a hotel casino.
Yeah, so this camp thing is pretty interesting.
went to a state park. Do you think you could walk me through those details and kind of tell me a little bit about when you last spoke with her or when you last saw her?
Angelica and I go line dancing frequently. I had last seen her in person the Friday before. I don't remember if it was the Friday before. One of the Friday in June. We had just recently gone line dancing. It was probably the weekend before because it wasn't 4th of July weekend. And then we, our shifts don't line up all the time, but we talk frequently. And the night before she went missing, she sent our Taco Bella friend group a text just expressing her gratitude for our friendship, which is something that we do all the time. It's how we talk with each other. We are like each other's rocks, and just, I might text them, oh my gosh, the kids were really getting on me today and it was a hard one. Or maybe like, wow, my shift today was so heavy. Thank you girls for being there. Like, we talk to each other like that all the time. So it was.
Yeah, but it just seems like it's the day before and there was nothing that happened. See, when I look at this, when you have, normally you would type something like that in, like, oh, like her example. Again, so I think this seems like it's related to that interview that we already read, but, or she's just repeating herself. But when, the way she's talking, it's more like, hey, I would, when I was struggling with something, they would all come around and say, hey, we love, or I'd write to them, I love all you guys are great. But what happened in this case for her to write that? I don't know if people just randomly typed that in. It seems like usually there's an event that they helped you with that you then realize, wow, and then you say something, right? So that's how I look at this. She makes it sound like, oh, we say it all the time. I don't believe it. I mean, I believe that they say it when something happened. Oh, they all went out to dinner the night before. Hey, and then they say something. Or they did this and this and this and this. But it sounds like she just kind of typed it in out of nowhere the day before. There was nothing that they helped her with or something like that.
Wasn't abnormal. And then Monday the 6th, as the police reported, she dropped her daughter off at camp. Initially, there was some miscommunications about what had happened, but she had run into another mom at drop-off who had said, oh, I haven't gotten back to you. I can do pickup this week. And she was like, great. And so she was not set to pick up anyone at camp, which, as moms in general, I feel like we carpool a lot. That has been something that this story has gotten a lot of criticism about, but we carpool all the time. And I mean, maybe my life's different as a night shifter, but I lean on my village so much. I mean, just today, I have people picking my kids up from camp because I have to work tonight. I work a 15-hour shift. Like, it's a very normal thing to do in my mind. And then, from there, we knew that she left the casino sometime after, or right before 4, because they found video footage of her car leaving. And then we have a timestamp ticket of her up on the mountain just after 4:20. I have not personally heard from her since Sunday the 5th in the evening. And I was at work Monday the 6th expecting to see her. And when she didn't present for her shift, I started texting her and then called her because, we frequently sleep through alarms and stuff like that. And nobody answered. So I reached out to another one of the girls in our Taco Bella group, and she hadn't heard from her. And then I found word that her husband was calling to see if she had maybe come into work early or if she'd showed up to work. And then that was kind of when everything started. And this has been my life now.
And so you said you last heard from her if she was, sending text messages of gratitude, which is something normal in your group chat. Was there any sort of odd behavior signs you might have noticed in the last days that you saw her? Or, thinking back on it now, weeks later, do you think there was anything weird?
Everything looks different, right? When you look, hindsight's 2020, when you look at it through a different lens. I mean, again, her text message is something like we talk to each other all the time. But sure, I can't help but now be like, oh gosh, was this...
Yeah, but you don't talk like that all the time. I guarantee you, when anybody normally talks like that, it's like when something you all shared and experienced together, or normally when you might say, hey, you guys, I just want to thank you guys for being my friend. But in this case, she just sort of said it out of the blue, and now when she looks back, it's weird. But it wouldn't be weird if she looked back. She'd have something to say. like she'd say, well, it's not weird at all because the day before, all of us took her out, and she was having a, probably wouldn't want to say what if there was a rough day, but we did this and this and this and this. So she was just basically thanking all of us for being her friend. Well, they never said she doesn't say anything like that. So what it means is it was out of the blue. There's really no explanation for it, and the reason it's strange to her is because they don't just do it out of the blue. That they normally do it when something was done to help each other or something the day before, when you'd say, hey, thanks everybody. That's how it works, or she would say right here, she said, she thanked all of us for a friendship, and it's really because on the night before we had this really rough case that came in, and man, we were all just hurrying around, and then the person passed away, and we were just all there for her, and she was saying that. But there's no sample. She doesn't have anything to say because there isn't anything. It was out of the blue. That's why when she thinks back to it, it's unusual now.
Is this a clue? Everything feels like a clue now. Like I find I'm like, oh gosh, the last time we went line dancing, we went to McDonald's and she got, 6 nuggets instead of 4. Like, is that a clue? Everything feels like a clue. I don't feel like I know anything. I don't know what I know anymore because I'm just so baffled by her disappearance and pleading for answers.
And as you mentioned, she was seen on surveillance camera leaving a casino. It's Harrah's Resort, Southern California. It's a 4-star hotel and casino. Has she visited that place before?
Because, we frequently sleep through alarms and stuff like that. And
I had to rewind it.
Nobody answered, so I reached out to another one of the girls in our talk. And then, from there, we knew that she left the casino sometime.
Where's the part about the picking up her kid? Let me go back.
My shift today was so heavy. Thank you. 6, as the police reported, she dropped her daughter off at camp. Initially, there was some miscommunications about what had happened, but she had run into another mom at drop-off who had said, oh, I haven't gotten back to you.
Okay, so that's a little interesting because this makes it seem like she'd already, well, I guess it's no different, really. I mean, she had gotten a hold of this mom and said, hey, can you drive my kid home? But they never got back to her. But then when she shows up, the mom comes forward and says, hey, I never got back to you. Yeah, I can give her a ride home.
I can do pickup this week. And she was like, great. And so.
But so that's weird. That means, was there no plan at all? Like when she dropped her off, was there no plan? Or if that lady hadn't come forward, would she have actually then gone home after going to the casino and picked her up? That's the thing. If she had just made the plan that day, it would make more sense. Like, I mean, I guess if you already know you're going to be doing something, even if you called the night before and said, hey, can you take my kid home? And they never got back to you. That's definitely something that, I mean, she could have just knew that she was doing that the next day anyways. And then I don't know, but how would she have made sure that her daughter got home if that lady hadn't come up to her and said something? You know what I mean? So it's a little different there. It kind of adds points to, just slightly to points for her not doing this. Just a little bit, but not a lot, because she could have been like, okay, I'm going to be doing something myself tomorrow, and then she made these plans for somebody else to drive her home, but then she went to drop her off without actually having plans. Maybe she just thought while she's there, she easily could get some other parent to drive her home. So it could be that as simple as that. Thanks, Michelle H.
She was not set to pick up anyone at camp, which as moms in general, I feel like we carpool a lot. That has been something that this story has gotten a lot of criticism about, but we carpool all the time. And I mean, maybe my life's different as a night shifter, but I lean on my village so much. I mean, just today I have people picking my kids up from camp because I have to work tonight. I work a 15-hour shift. Like it's a very normal thing to do in my mind. And then, yeah, from there, we knew that she left the casino sometime after or right before 4 because
No, but it wasn't right before 4. Is it 3:40? Was it right before 4?
they found video footage of her car leaving, and then we have a timestamp ticket of her up on the mountain just after 4:20. I have not
Hey, look at that. It's Chris O'Cuddle. Thank you. Wow, somebody actually bought some memberships today. Paul Ayers got one, but thank you. Appreciate it.
personally heard from her since Sunday the 5th in the evening, and I was at work Monday the 6th expecting to see her, and when she didn't present for her shift, I started texting her and then called her because, we frequently sleep through alarms and stuff like that, and nobody answered, so I reached out to another one of the girls in our Taco Bella group, and she hadn't heard from her, and then I found word that her husband was calling to see if she had maybe come into work early or if she'd showed up to work, and then that was kind of when everything started, and this has been my life now.
And so you said you last heard from her of she was, sending text messages of gratitude, which is something normal in your group chat. Was there any sort of odd behavior signs you might have noticed in the last days that you saw her? Or
And so don't you think it's interesting that she sent, let's look at, she sent the message on the 5th. She sent the message on the 5th, which is exactly the same day that she had lunch with another friend out there, right? So there she is right there. Remember that? Like she had lunch with another friend on the same day. It's almost like she's saying goodbye to these friends, but they don't know it. She's just thanking them for being friends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that the fact that they're the same day makes that interesting, right? That you have her doing this. I always thought that this right here was a goodbye lunch. Her face doesn't look, who knows? It's just a still shot of one moment in time. But I think that she's saying goodbye here. And then we hear that she sends a text message to her other group of friends saying, thank you all for being such good friends. And then she has her daughter taken home by somebody else. You can explain them all away circumstantially, but when you stack them together, you have to go, well, then all of a sudden, those 3 things right there indicate something. And then we continue on and on and on. All right, so here we go.
Or, thinking back on it now, weeks later, do you think there was anything weird?
Everything looks different, right? When you look hindsight's
Hey, Chris O'Connell, what do you think of the new set here? Did you even notice? Come on.
2020, when you look at it through a different lens. Again, her text message is something like we talk to each other all the time, but sure, I can't help but now be like, oh gosh, is this a clue? Everything feels like a clue now. Like I find I'm like, oh gosh, the last time we went line dancing, we went to McDonald's and she got, 6 nuggets instead of 4. Like, is that a clue? Everything feels like a clue. I don't feel like I know anything. I don't know what I know anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that thought right there.
Because I'm just so baffled by her disappearance and pleading for answers.
And as you mentioned, she was seen on surveillance camera leaving a casino. It's Harrah's Resort, Southern California. It's a 4-star hotel and casino. Has she visited that place before? Was that an unusual trip for her to make?
I've been there with her before. It's not something I did regularly. It's not something I knew her to do regularly, but it's not far from where we live. Like, it wouldn't be difficult to visit there. It's not an unusual thing to do in my mind, but I've only been there once with that friend group.
Do you know anything about what her experience?
Oh, by the way, Chris O'Connell, Carl with a C, he messaged me. He got called off to do something like right after we were doing the show. So that's what I kind of thought. I think I even said that in the show. Like, man, maybe he got a phone call or something. But he got taken off. But he sent a PayPal in. So there you go.
Was there? Did you guys have a great time? Was it not so great?
We had a great time. We went to Hell's Kitchen and didn't see Gordon Ramsay, which was frustrating, but I know you can't win every time. But yeah, I mean, I always have a great time with her. She's the goofball of our group. She is always trying to get us in shape. I keep saying to our group, like, gosh, hopefully this is all just an elaborate scheme to get us out hiking and get us in shape. Because she's been saying this is going to be our fittest year yet. And, I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if that was something that was bothering her too, because she didn't look like she's in as good a shape in that picture when she's having lunch with her friend compared to some of the other ones that I've seen her in.
I mean, I've seen her described as an avid hiker. She obviously, her car was seen going into Palmer's Mountain State Park around 4 o'clock. Was this a place she had frequented before? Do you know that if this was a popular hiking spot for her? Have you ever been there with her?
I'd never been. I know that she's been hiking with one of our other girlfriends. They had hiked back in like February, which is why search and rescue efforts also were really heavily focused on the route they took. And they've just been, my girlfriend Elena is the one who went hiking with her in February. She's actually out on the mountain today, just hiking again, with some volunteers that have some dogs just to see if we can find anything. I didn't know her to necessarily frequent that route, but I know that she frequented the mountains in the San Diego area for hiking excursions.
And I mean, I know you said you're not really seeing any like warning signs, particularly before she had disappeared, but do you know if there might have been anything weighing on her heavily? I mean, obviously in your guys' line of work as emergency room nurses, you probably see a lot of tough stuff. Home life, I'm sure, can be difficult to juggle with kids and, especially those late hours. Do you know if there was anything that had been bothering her?
I don't know of anything specifically. As you said, in our profession, I mean, it's not really possible to do a career in the emergency department and not leave unscathed to some extent. We definitely have a super heavy job, and we carry, we essentially carry our community's worst days with us every day. That's what we do for a living. But no, I didn't see anything concerning from her. It's just, we had very good support system to talk to each other and whatnot. A lot of nurses find other nurses that kind of be their person, because as a nurse, you don't want to burden a lay person with these heavy things because they're not used to coping with, everything that we cope with. And so I can't confidently say there was one thing that stands out. But I do think that mental health and nursing is always important and needs to be, that has to be considered.
And, I kind of want to go back to a bit of the, details of the last day that she was seen. There's a lot of uncertainty with it, and people who are, following the case and, wanting to know more. Obviously, there's not much known about what happened in the hours between her dropping off her daughter at summer camp and then her going to the casino. Do you have any sort of ideas of what she might have done? Is there a particular, thing she would do before she would work her night shifts? Is there, does she have some sort of routine that you were aware of?
I get asked a lot about the routine, which is a funny word to me because, again, as a night shift nurse, it's not really in my vocabulary.
She does a lot of self-promotion in this. That's one of the things I don't really like. Oh, you're just so, what you guys do is just so, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the way it sounds. I don't like it. Hey, cool. Thanks, Chris O'Connell, for the comment there. And looks like Karen777 will do another. She'll do a $10 super chat for something equal.
We have to just roll with the punches. The world is not built for us. So the routine, it depends on what your kids have going on that day. It depends how far behind you are on laundry. It depends if you've been to the grocery store this week. I mean, I can't really say what she does or doesn't do as a routine, because speaking for myself, I don't have a routine. But I would love to know what she did the whole day. I would love to know exactly what happened. I would love to find her and bring her home.
And during the search efforts, they found her car 3 days later after she had went missing on July 9th. And I feel like there's been a lot of miscommunication about, the details.
A beret? You guys are crazy. I mean, I know I don't have the greatest hair in the world, but what's wrong with my hair? Come on, you guys. Jesus. Man, I know I'm getting old, but can I just have my own hair a little bit? Feels good. Hey, Chris O'Connell, looks like Carl's looking for you.
details finding her car. I saw a local report talking about how one of her brothers said he had found it. The police have obviously been using terminology of like, we found it. I believe you had put out something on the Bring Angelica Brophy Home Facebook group about, her Apple Watch pinging nearby. Do you think you could tell me a little bit about how you guys came to find her car and, those details about the Apple Watch of what role that played?
Sure. I can't explain the tech side of it because, as I said, I don't you can see my watch here. I'm an old school digital watch user. But as she was missing, we were able to find a phone at her house.
Okay, so this is that interesting part that we were wondering about. So this is how that went down about finding her watch.
You can see my watch here. I'm an old school digital watch user. But as she was missing, we were able to find a phone at her house, like an old phone, and get it charged up and then gain access into some of the things throughout her phone to see if we could locate her or whatnot. Again, I don't understand how it works. But we were able to find that her Apple Watch had last pinged at a trailhead near this pond. And so then myself and Elena, our two of the girls of the group, had been in contact with her husband, just trying to brainstorm where we should be looking for her. When we found that it had pinged there, he asked us if we'd ever been hiking there. And Elena was like, yeah, we have been hiking there. So her brother was in the area and went over there. And with the state park ranger, they located her vehicle in the Doan Pond parking lot on Palomar Mountain.
Images have come out of her car at the parking lot of the state park.
Yeah, such weird stuff to go find somebody's phone and turn it on. Hey, but you guys see we had a challenge up there by Karen. She said she'll send a $10 super chat if $10 is given somehow within the group. Seems like everybody missed that one. But that was her challenge. All right. Yeah, so it's kind of weird that she picked up the... they go over to the house, not picked up. They went over to her house and found an old phone and somehow turned it on. I wonder how they get the passwords for these things. Turn them on, and then was able to determine that her Apple Watch was over at this park. And so they went there, and that's where the car was located. The cell phone's in the car. The lot of other things.
Where it appeared to be a high.
You had the cash, passport, the wallet, purse, phone, were all in the car.
Flask, reusable water bottle, maybe her phone charger, maybe a couple items of clothing. You had put out a post talking about how her
Hey, thanks, Carl with a C.
Phone, her wallet, her purse, her passport were found in the car. Could you tell me a little bit about what was found in the car and if any of those things being left behind was unusual for her?
I personally didn't go in her car. Seeing the image, though, of the water bottle is really difficult for me because that is, all five of us have that same water bottle, and that is the one that we use at work. Anyways, so she did have her purse, phone go in her car. Seeing the image, though, of the water bottle.
Yeah, I don't remember the water bottle part. So that's interesting, too. She didn't even bring a water bottle. And she's walking around. It's a little strange.
It's really difficult for me because that is, all five of us have that same water bottle. And that is the one that we use at work. Anyways, so she did have her purse, phone, wallet, passport in her car. I mean, I think that's unusual to leave everything. But it wasn't unusual for her to carry all of those items.
You mean to have those items with her?
I know there was a bunch of clothes in the car, but that was like a sisterhood of the traveling clothes that we have. We all
Sisterhood of the... You know what I'm saying? Those words that she uses?
just go through our closets and pass things down to each other to be like, I don't know, why don't you just go through and see if you find anything?
Okay.
But...
What does it have to do with the clothing in her car?
Yeah, that water bottle's hard because it's everywhere, and
Of course, I can imagine that could be difficult. I mean, you mentioned that her passport was with her. Is that something, does she typically carry her passport with her wherever she goes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that Stanley coffee cup. What would? Yeah, that one. Yeah, whatever that was.
She has her passport with her. I don't know why, but I don't know. I mean, I have my passport with me too, just because there's a zipper pouch that it fits in, and then I don't lose it.
And then I was also curious if they found her phone in her car. Police had said they were trying to ping her phone when they were trying to locate her, but they weren't able to get any information, so they, believe that it might have been dead or it might have been shut off. Do you know anything about that? Was her phone dead when it was found?
I know they found her phone and were able to get it on. I'm not sure what they had to do to. I don't know if they had to recharge it or not. I got to the mountain.
Thank you, Carissa O'Connell, and then Carl with a C. All right. Those are the other colors. I think it's better when I click on these because I made them sort of match the look in here. Yeah, but it was she said water bottle. Maybe it's different, Maybe we're just not, we didn't have that yet or something.
Then, so they found her car. My friend Elena was gonna go up there. I had to get my kids home. Once I got everyone settled, I called and said, should I come up? And they said yes. And so my husband and I drove up to help search that evening. And by the time I got up there, they had already had it on. So I'm not exactly sure what.
Can you kind of walk me through, what it was like getting to the park that day and seeing her car, seeing that evidence of her and then immediately, jumping into the search effort? I mean, what was that like for you?
It's surreal. I was going to drive myself and my husband said, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I just think she didn't bring the water because it's like she's going somewhere. It's kind of interesting though. Like some of the little pieces of information are, like don't absolutely mean that she took off to do something, It's weird. I mean, the water bottle thing and then the car backed in and the seat back. Maybe you get in somebody else's car, you don't need your water bottle anymore, and you just sort of take off. But it's like, why wouldn't you bring something? I don't know. I just think it's still the same. Like the thing is, if she's going off to start a new life, I mean, that's really the only other angle that makes sense. That she's went with somebody to start a whole new life with somebody. That's it. That's the only other thing. Okay, the whole thing about some random killer being there is ludicrous to me because you have somebody who's sort of planning on not being detected, somehow goes up to a place that it's okay to go to. She hikes there, but she doesn't want to be detected. And then when she gets there, some random psycho gets her. The odds of that are so low that it would have to be either she started a whole new life with somebody who randomly, drove in there and drove out with her, or she just walked off and took her life somewhere. I think that's kind of the more likely scenario in this case. I mean, not even kind of. I think it's like the most likely.
I should drive just because I don't know how this is going to be for you. It's beautiful up there. So that part was also distracting as you're driving up with this like beautiful scenery, but not knowing what you're going to find. We got there.
Yeah, but let's say you met a new chap while line dancing, and then they're like, hey, let's go. I mean, why leave all of that stuff? Why wouldn't you bring the cash at least out of your wallet? Why wouldn't you take your ID or something? You're going to need to use something at some point. But you'd almost have to believe that the only two options are that she took her own life and she wanted to start a whole new life with fake ID and everything. You know what I mean? Like some crazy story like that. By the way, did you guys hear that story the other day where two brothers, or not, they're not two brothers, two boys were given to the wrong parent at birth from the hospital. The hospital is not accepting responsibility for it. But these two kids were raised for 40 years by different parents, and those parents loved them. And I mean, what a weird feeling, So both of the kids have met their real parents, but they haven't met each other yet. And they were both raised by, loving, I guess, I don't know, man. That's such weird shit. Hey, look at that. It's Chris O'Connell and Carl with a C again. Thank you. Yeah, it's the same couple of people in there, you guys. So let's see if we can get some support from other people watching. That would be great. Because it always makes it feel like a complete fluke.
There, lots of nervous energy, and also as an ER nurse, we're very much like problem solvers. So I kind of just hit the ground and was like, what are we doing? Where are we going? What's the plan? And Elena, who's also an ER nurse, was up there and is like, we're going to just...
And thank you again to Carl with a C and Chris O'Connell. That's my imitation of Jason Bourne saying it. Yep, see, look at, he just typed it in. Look at that. I knew it.
Look for her. And we said, okay, let's go. And so we started off on a trail with flashlights, the three of us. And we were going, like, the park ranger told us usually if someone's off trail, they're a 50
Well, thanks again, Chris O'Connell and Karen, 777.
yards or less. So we essentially went 25 to 50 yards off trail and used my husband to anchor us to the trail and just scoured until it was...
Yeah, see, my thing is this, is if you're going to go out there, just walking around on the trails doesn't do anything. Okay? It's meaningless. You can take the trails to get somewhere, but once you get somewhere, then you got to, when you're on the trail, you got to walk way off the trail, because at any point, she could have been walking and then walked off the trail and did something to herself, and you aren't going to find her because you're just walking along the trail. Nothing there, Chuck. I keep hearing that part where you just see these people and they're just walking along the trail. It's like everybody's already walked along the trail. She's not there. She's not on the trail, you guys. She's either really far away now. I mean, she's not still walking. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, hey, whoa, what's going on? Hey, thank you, Carl with a C and Chris O'Connell and Carl with a C and Chris O'Connell. What's going on? We just got like 1 million channel members.
It was dark, and then came back because we didn't want, to have to divide the efforts by getting ourselves lost. It's such a pendulum of emotions that I've never experienced. I can be laughing about something and then sobbing hysterically. And, as this has gone on, I feel like sometimes I come off as like numb to this whole situation. But one, I'm a professional compartmentalizer. And two, I have cried about this so much that it's just, it's so perplexing and frustrating and devastating, and every emotion you've ever experienced in your life, and then new ones too. It's just haunting. I mean, we just want to find her. We want to know where she is. We want to bring her home safe. We need answers, basically.
I'm sure that has to be hard, and especially if, just wanting to do anything and everything you can. Have you been searching for several days, or do you frequently go on the search effort expedition?
So initially, when we found the car, we did search ourselves, and then as soon as San Diego Sheriff Search and Rescue came on the ground, they asked us to stop so we wouldn't hinder the efforts of the trained search and rescue. So then we spent the next 2 days on the mountain just sitting there to see if we could be helpful with information or answering questions. And then Saturday, that would have been the 11th, I believe. They said that they, have done 2.5 days of extensive search and rescue and really hadn't come up with any answers. They didn't really have a way to guide us. Apparently there's not like a your friend is missing liaison, which I think would be a great thing to have. But at that moment, we just kind of...
Hey, Chris O'Connell, Carl, thank you. I really appreciate it. But man, Chris O'Connell, you just did this the other night, man. You guys are incredible. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Talked as a group. Obviously, we're her very close friends, but...
which part are you talking about, DeBlanco? Which part is odd? I mean, I've said you know, you guys are so far, like 20 seconds behind that it's hard to.
And
I'm rewinding it a little bit.
I have cried about this so much that it's just, it's so perplexing and frustrating and devastating, and every emotion you've ever experienced in your life, and then new ones too. It's just haunting. I mean, we just want to find her. We want to know where she is. We want to bring her home safe. We need answers, basically.
You know, I'm sure that has to be hard, and especially if, you know, just wanting to do anything and everything you can. You know, have you been searching for several days, or do you frequently go on the search effort expedition?
So initially, when we found the car, we did search ourselves, and then as soon as San Diego Sheriff Search and Rescue came on the ground, they asked us to stop so we wouldn't hinder the efforts of the trained search and rescue. So then we spent the next 2 days on the mountain just sitting there to see if we could be helpful with information or answering questions. And then Saturday, that would have been the 11th, I believe. They said that they, you know, have done 2.5 days of extensive search and rescue and really hadn't come up with any answers. They didn't really have a way to guide us. Apparently there's not like a your friend is missing liaison, which I think would be a great thing to have. But at that moment, we just kind of talked as a group. Obviously, you know, we're her very close friends, but we also are here to support her family, and they're the ultimate decision makers and whatnot. And at that point, we decided that it was time to lean on the media and bring everyone in and see if we could find answers from the public. And so we went home that afternoon. All of the remaining Taco Bellas came together, and we made a missing
The Taco Bellas.
persons flyer, which is also not something you ever anticipate doing. Then we went to our work and briefed our night shift. Yeah. So the 4 of us Taco Bellas made a missing persons flyer. Then we went to our work to brief the night shift of what was going on, because we didn't want everyone to just see flyers around and be confused. And so we told everyone what was going on, put up missing person flyers.
See, I think there's a possibility that she went on this road here, because if you go all the way down here, you know, there's a way. If you look at it, it's like this is it over here still, and then it kind of winds around. And I don't know, maybe she somehow figured out a way from here. I don't know, going up. I think some of these other trails wind around and make it to that road. You know, like this trail here, for example. I don't know exactly where it goes, but it feels like there's a way you can get to this road, and then from there, it's just easy to get really far away quick. There is some uphill stuff, but then, you know, then it goes downhill, and you can be way out here somewhere at that point. And then there's tons and tons of trails that go over here. You know, who the hell knows? I don't think they looked. By the time they found the car, she literally could have walked 2 days, you know? I mean, literally for 2 days there. I don't think that's the case, but I'm just saying, you know, she's not going to be walking overnight. I don't think anybody wants to be in the darkness walking around. But I think somehow if you can get to that road, I mean, it looks like there might be paths that go over. I mean, maybe it'd be useful for us to go on that road and kind of follow it along and see if there's any point where a trail comes off from the left. Oh, what a cool little area that is. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that amazing, you guys? Thank you, Carl with a C. Up, and then Chris O'Connell. Thanks, you guys. What a cool little valley that is right there. And that isn't really too far away from the parking area. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's, like right there does seem to be a trail that makes its way up here and then kind of winds around. Now you're going down at some point over here, I think. Yeah, right there it's continuing. Does it keep going? You know, that's the thing. I can't tell. It might be private land over there as well. Don't know that.
And then that's when we kind of mounted this social media blitz, for lack of a better word, to try and just get her face everywhere and see if we could find any information.
So have you, how did you find those words to tell these people that you work with, and especially people, who see her so frequently? How were we able to put that together to, give all them the information while also, trying to protect yourself?
Made up for a couple. We were so far behind. We had 9 days in a row where we didn't even make half of a goal. So yeah, this is like a night like this makes it back a full day. Like it'll cover yesterday, basically not doing it a show. Yeah.
Health and your sanity of having to come.
And I appreciate you guys. Don't feel obligated or whatever it is to keep doing your challenges. All right, 1, 2, 3, break. There you go. You guys are amazing, though. Thank you.
Realization.
Yeah. If you haven't noticed, I'm slightly.
I mean, you're more than welcome. Whatever, if you feel like helping out, but I mean, I don't want to. I don't really give a shit what the trolls say. I'm always like concerned with what they like. Oh, maybe the trolls will think, oh man, these guys are, But who cares,
Really talkative. And so, as the unofficial spokesperson of the Taco Bellas, essentially, I volunteered to start trying to see what I could come up with. It was very difficult. It was extremely emotional. I feel like I essentially dissociated to do it. Just stuck to the facts and tried to, which is so little information that we have, and let everyone know. And then we stayed after so we start our shift with a huddle, like a meeting, for lack of a better word. And so we stayed after to like talk to people, offer hugs.
I love you guys too. Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
We stayed to talk to the off-going shift, and then we've tried to just be present for our unit as we go through this, to kind of talk to each other and whatnot.
And thanks, Carl, and Chris O'Connell. You guys, obviously above and beyond. Without you guys right now, we'd be at like 1/5 of the nightly goal. So thank you.
Though on the same hand, it is exhausting. This is my entire life, and I can't even imagine what it's like for her family, with how difficult it's been for me. Because we've done a pretty good job of getting out to the media what's going on, which is great. I love that everyone's covering this. I love that she's getting the exposure so we can hopefully help find her immediately. But because of the far reach, there's no getting away from it. I can't just doom scroll on TikTok at night anymore. I can't.
Your throwdown? What's a throwdown? I don't even know what that is. Oh boy, here we go. Who knows, man? Who knows what Carl with a C has in store? Open
my Facebook just to see what my cousins did this weekend. Through all this, I have 4 kids. I had to throw a birthday party for one of my sons. I, attended a family birthday party. It's very weird. I feel like I'm present in these moments, but I'm not actually present because I'm moderating a Facebook group. I'm answering things. I'm seeing what else we could possibly do to try and find her. And so it has been.
Yeah, you're moderating, but you're not really answering questions. Because I asked her totally legit questions. I said, what time? I sent her a message, and I said, hey, what time was the watch ping, for lack of a better term? And she goes, I don't really like, the way that you're, so what are you talking about? I don't even know you. I'm just asking you a simple question.
Very challenging to navigate.
I mean, that sounds incredibly difficult. And, I want to kind of give you the space as the Taco Bell's spokesperson. A lot of people have been, concerned on social media of kind of a lack of her family members speaking to the media. A couple of her brothers have done local interviews. Obviously, she has a husband and 2 kids. Do you want to clear any of the air on that, of just like, giving the chance to explain the family's input in this, especially with talking to the media and trying to get the word out there?
Yeah, I mean, her family is working so hard to find her. Again, none of us have ever been through this. Elena and I are 2 of the friends that have been really communicating with them to support them in any way. It takes a village, and as part of that village,
I can't stand the takes a village thing. It's just,
some of us have stepped up to manage other aspects. Her brothers are definitely still talking to the media, but if there's something I can help with, I've been also offering to do that. Her husband and brothers have been instrumental in planning the searching, doing the searching, obviously caring for the children. She has a big family who's come in to support them, and we're here as her friends to support them how we can. And so if, me talking to you in an interview like this is going to be supportive and potentially help bring Angelica home, then that's what I'm going to do.
And obviously, the world has come to know who Angelica is in the recent days and weeks. To people who are tuning into this, they might just see her as a missing mom in California, but to you, she sounds like she's your best friend. She sounds like, she's kind of your person. What do you want the world to know about Angelica?
I mean, Angelica is our goofball. We have so many little clips going around between our group of like funny little things we've done.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, some interesting elements in there. She left her water bottle there. So that would make you think if she took her own life, she'd be a little closer, but maybe she just didn't really care about the water. I don't know. It's just like everything points to, okay. So just look at it like she has lunch with that one person on the 5th that she hadn't seen in a long, or who knows if she'd seen her, but she had lunch with the person on the 5th. Then on the 5th, she sends messages to her friends saying, hey, thanks for being such good friends. Then she has somebody else take her kid home from work on the 6th. I mean, from a camp, so she didn't have to pick up their child. And then while she's over at the casino, before she leaves, she turns off her phone. And I guarantee you she turned it off. It didn't die because she would have charged it on the way up there, noticing, oh, look, my phone's dead. So she turned off her phone. That means she didn't want to be tracked. Then she went all the way up to this park here, parked the car, and left all of her identification information in the vehicle, and then left the vehicle. And so for me, that's really ominous, right? To me, that doesn't point to some other random person showing up and doing something to her. That means like that would be 1 in a billion if that happened. Hey, thanks. Wild Bill Wassman, Carl with a C, and Chris O'Cuddle. Anyways, thank you guys. What do you guys think about what I just said there? I just think that's got to be, you just put all that together, the circumstantial evidence, and then when she was gambling, or, maybe she was using points, right? So she probably was gambling in there. And then you could see a scenario where it was this kind of like, well, if I win, I'll live. If I don't win, God's saying it's okay. Then she was supposed to meet up with one of their kids that evening as well. I don't know when they said that or how that went. Oh, you got a challenge? I didn't see it. Oh, yeah, Chris O'Connell said she'll do another $10 PayPal for something equal. Well, Chris O'Connell did one half of it. Right there, Karen. Getting bombarded with the nut job trolls in here tonight, you guys, but our moderators will handle it, so don't worry about those guys. Absolute nut jobs. Let's see. Well, thanks, Carl with a C again. Very kind of you. Oh, God. Here we go again. What's going on? We're going to get every single person on YouTube is going to be a channel member for a month. Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Yeah, so anyways, I thought that was pretty interesting listening to that. It had some, a little bit more context in there. We find about the water bottle. That could be what that other thing was, but now she's calling it a water bottle. And then, they talked about the phone, how they went over to her house. And so that makes the husband absolutely unnefarious, right? You've got a situation where the husband's letting all of her friends dig around the house, etc. That should make everybody feel like, okay, well, he has nothing to do with anything. And they find a phone, and then somehow they're able to start it, and that somehow is connected to her. I mean, how old is that phone? Maybe it was one that she just replaced 6 months ago. And so it's still connected. Well, you can, I think the watch thing, you can just go to a website and see, your locations. It has nothing to do with, you don't have to have the app connected to your watch. I think it's just information that's out there. Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman, Carl with a C, Chris O'Connell. Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Wow, thank you guys. You like it, Jessica? Cool. Apparently I'm supposed to be wearing I spelled it wrong when I typed it in, but a fedora, you guys. I don't think so. I just think it's a cool set. It feels warm or something. Makes me feel better. Somebody typed something similar. That's how it is. This is like noir kind of a look. I like the Grey's Investigates logo up there. It's better too. If you go to my channel, all that stuff's changed in there now. Oh my God, the green line. Are you stoned, Chicken Wing? Wow. Oh my God, she says. I mean, who the hell would even think this? Look at this. Oh my God, the green line mapped out looks like pizza slice. There has to be something going on there. I mean, who would even come up with that? The shape of it? Hey, thank you. Pointy end up, flamey end down. Man, thank you guys so much up there for doing all those channel memberships. Chris O'Connell, Carl the C, Wild Bill Wassman jumped in there. And then we had a bunch of different things from Karen as well. I thought it looked more like the Millennial Falcon. From the Star Wars. No, not them. One of the not that ship. It's the main battleships of the bad guys. Whatever the hell those are called. The Stormtrooper huge ships. Yeah. Let's see. Thanks, mods, for dealing with the nutjob trolls that always show up during the shows. Any show that I do well in, they get upset about. Yeah, we've had like 8 or 9 different people tonight. Just so you know. All right, do you guys want to look like... no, I'm just reading what Chicken Wing's saying. Kind of does look like it. Yeah, the Imperial Cruiser. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Let's see. I'll show you. Dun, 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 dun. See that right there? Right there? Come on. That's it. Holy crap. All right, let's switch over to Nancy Guthrie now. If I was them, I would just look further out, especially like over in this area over here. You know, I think there's a certain distance. She wouldn't want to keep walking into the darkness. So before dark is when she did whatever she was going to do. I hope she's still out there somehow, but man, that seems kind of bleak. Well, because it's triangular, it looks like a pizza slice. I mean, come on, you guys. It does look like a pizza. Oh, and this right here is a dab of hot sauce in the middle of it. Okay, I should have made that red, though, maybe solid shape. You know what I could do is put... Hey, hold on a second. Let me help you guys out a little bit. Hold on. All right. We got to get the pepperoni slices in there. Okay. There's one. You guys are crazy. Yeah, they're steamed. All right. So we're going to switch over to Nancy Guthrie. We haven't talked about that for a while here. It's kind of similar, you know, it's kind of a strange mystery. There we go. I'm not, what do you mean getting excited, Karen? I'm just switching topics. I'm not excited. I'm just switching topics. I don't have anything else to say about the other one. You can have pizza and watch Star Wars tomorrow. Nice. All right, so here is a portions of an interview. I gotta turn this all up. I recorded it really low. All right, here we go.
There's been bits of this that have been talked about online. There's been parts that people know, but I don't think they know all of the verbiage. And I think this is very important because it sets the tone for what was about to come. So I'm going to read you part of it. This is how it started.
So she's going to read the, part of the ransom. I don't know why they just don't release the damn full ransom note. I feel like they're still skipping stuff. I do. When I'm listening to them, they title stuff like full ransom note. The second one, maybe it is the full one. We've already seen all of that. But the first one, it seems like there's more in there. Because they keep talking about they demanded a certain amount by this date and so forth, but we don't ever get the precise verbiage.
Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days.
So they're saying they will only hold her for 7 days.
For 7 days, right. Then
Kind of weird to say maximum of 7 days. Why not just say we're only going to hold her for 7 days?
Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days.
So they're saying they will only hold her for 7 days.
For 7 days, right. Then they get pretty demanding and snarky with how they address.
Demanding and snarky.
Pretty demanding and snarky with how they address Savannah. And mind you, that's also important, right? They're addressing just Savannah.
Yeah.
They don't say the Guthrie family. Hello, Savannah, we have your mother.
We always wondered if it was like about who she was, or,
Right.
or did it just happen upon her not knowing that it was going to garner this attention? But it seems like this was about, or they at least like not necessarily about Savannah.
Yeah, well, I didn't really set it up, but this is from Crime Junkies right here.
This was about, or they at least like not necessarily about Savannah, but they knew Savannah had money.
Yes.
At a minimum.
I think, so Savannah, I believe, was obviously, the target of where we would get the money from
Yeah.
if you were the person who was targeting this. And I think there's a reason maybe why they targeted her. I'll get into that too.
Okay.
I'm going to read you 3 more parts of this ransom note, and then we'll kind of talk about it after. So this is what it went on to say. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation.
I mean, it is pretty, it's interesting, right? Hey, sorry for the trolls in here and what they're saying and everything like that. See, here's the truth, you guys. I'm going to tell you guys this right one time right here. Just listen for a second. There's this troll community out there, and they spend all their time, and a lot of them just sit here and watch. There's like, probably 50 trolls sitting here staring at the screen right now because all they can do is follow my channel. They're bizarre people. But what they've done is, whenever there's people out there that support my channel, they've contacted them. And by their manipulation and their tactics, they've actually had a lot of people that used to support my channel just sort of take off because they bombard. Who the hell wants to be attacked on the side over and over and over and over and over again? Who wants that? So people just go, I'll go somewhere else. That way the trolls won't bother me anymore. So that's what their tactic has been. Hey, look at that. From Carl with a C. Look at that right there. All right, so they've spent this whole time trying to destroy my channel. That's their goal. And so right now it's very difficult for me to reach goals on a nightly basis because some of the people that were here, they contacted, bombarded them. There's a couple just total dipshits out there that, it's just incredible. There's people that I used to think were really cool. They were here, and without me ever being mean to them or anything, they disappeared, and now they're part of the troll community. And that's because they got a hold of them and persuaded them in a certain way and tried to make me look a certain way, and they do all these little games and tricks out there because their goal is to try to destroy. What I'm saying here isn't paranoia or anything like that. It's real, what I'm telling you right here. It's crazy. So I do these shows now, and that's why I'm so frustrated, and sometimes I just don't, it's like I don't want to, it's hard to come on some nights because I know how hard it's going to be because of what these people have done. So when we have somebody in here, like tonight, we have Carl with a C and Chris O'Connell, they have to come in here and trash them and say that my channel wouldn't survive without them because they know they've got rid of all the other ones. The ones that support at a higher level. Okay, every channel has people that send in and support their channel more than other people because they can. Every channel has that. Okay, every single channel has that. And I had a few different people. I probably had 10 or 15 people. So it was kind of like on different nights, people would shift around and we'd still make our goals and be able to kick ass. My channel's donated over $301,000 out of the income that's come in. A lot of the income that's come in has come in from the super chats. A lot of it came in from ad revenue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, but I'm just trying to tell you guys what the truth is here. Their truth is something different. They're crazy people. They sit around twiddling their thumbs, wondering, "Ooh, how can we screw over Gray today?" Now they've made it. So, I mean, here's the thing, you guys. I get ashamed those nights where I'm so frustrated and I just can't even do the show because there's so little support. I feel ashamed at how I feel and act on the show, but that's just how I feel because these people have taken all of that stuff away from me where it wasn't hard, okay? That's it. No, see, that's just total. See, here we go. Here's that stupid cabbage for brains. You're full of shit. There's no manipulation, nothing. All right? You're an idiot. Get the hell out of here, you idiot pile of crap. All right? So this is absolutely true, what I'm telling you here. So I feel shitty when I act like that because that's how I feel, and I don't know how to pretend to feel something. Psychopaths can pretend that they don't feel a certain way. I feel the way I feel because I feel that way. All right? And some nights I gotta get the hell out of here because it's tough what these guys have done. All right? There is no manipulation. I do my shows. I say, hey, you guys, if you can please help support the channel, that'd be great. And I also, out of my income that comes in, I donate a huge amount to charities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how we've got to $301,000. Imagine if I didn't do that. There wouldn't be $301,000 given out. So, anyways, I'm just trying to tell you guys, this is what I deal with. I'm telling you right now, and I don't know how to fix what they're doing because they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. They take whenever I feel that way and I'm upset on the show, they make sure to clip it out and make videos about it. And then that gets out, oh, that Gray guy, he's a pilot, and it's not true. I'm a good person, you guys. I really am. I'm not a shitty person. If any of you met me in person, you'd like me. I'm a good person. I work hard. I figure shit out in true crime. And we've made a massive difference out there in the world in terms of, NCMEC, Texas EquiSearch, RAIN, the Wounded Warriors, for God's sakes, Black and Missing we used to give money to, like a ton of different places, all right? And so I'm just sick of it, and I don't know I can't fix it, right? So I wish somehow we could get back to what we used to do over here, but it's very difficult because of what they do. They always want to make it seem like it's me, etc. And here's the way it works, though. Somebody will tell you, this is what Gray's doing. Now, here's what he's saying. Here's what he's saying. This is what he's trying to do. Oh, yeah. And then they start pretending that they're seeing this thing when I'm just being me on the show. I don't have any, like I'm just saying, hey, can you help support the channel? And then I get frustrated. Like, oh, shit. When there's 45 minutes, when there's zero support at all, it makes it hard to just sit there spinning your wheels on a show. And they made it that way. It never used to be that way, ever. It used to be, I do a show, and people would just, So anyways, that's what the situation is right now. And thanks again, Carissa Cuddle. And thanks for supporting the channel. I'm sorry for the trolls and their horrendous behavior. This is what they've been doing for years now, believe it or not. And I know how it all started all that long time ago, but I'm not going to keep talking about it over and over and over. All right. Anyways, let's get back to the Nancy Guthrie stuff. All right. So I'll just start this over. All right. So we have this, it was on Crime Junkies, and I forgot what her name. What's the lady's name? The reporter, the young one that just got hired by Crime Junkies. What's her first name? Anybody know that? I remember her whole name if somebody just said it. Yeah, these guys, they're stalkers. They're crazy people. Anybody know her name? No, Brianna Whitney. I just remembered. Okay. Now watch, somebody will type it in right before I... Yeah, so Brianna Whitney is the one. Yeah, I already said it. But see, you guys will make it seem like you're... See, now the names are popping up into the chat right after I said it. But in your mind, you said it before I said it. All right, here we go.
There's been bits of this that have been talked about online. There's been parts that people know, but I don't think they know all of the verbiage. And I think this is very important because it sets the tone for what was about to come. So I'm going to read you part of it. This is how it started. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a...
Used to get angry all that tight. You can say what you want to spell my name, right? Oh, Millie Guthrie is rocking the house. That's what the rumor was all about. If you have the name down, all your friends, and they don't wait till you see me again. This way I can hear from the horse's mouth right then and there. We straight it out. Carl with a C.
Love you, great.
Well, thanks. I mean, I love all you guys too. I mean, all the people that show up all the time. It's just, it's gets really difficult sometimes. I'm just letting you know. It's I mean, yesterday it was just, like tonight it feels good, because here we are. I mean, obviously, we get huge support from various people out there, but it's, yesterday, like I was so, I don't know, it just felt good not even to do a show because it was like, God, I don't feel that stress, And then tonight when it started, it was like, I feel better because I spent all day yesterday just working on, continuing the work on my new set that I have here. Oh, really? Hold on. Holy crap. Chris O'Connell up there, look at that, gave 100. And then we also had Screw You Trolls. And then Carl with a C. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Yeah, these people, they just... I mean, who the hell knows, man, what their deal is. I think they'd be happy if I disappeared, and who would make up the same 301,000? Exposed for what? Cabbage, your brain, your brain. That name fits you perfectly. There is no exposing. Okay, what's weird is like remember that Jay Case guy used to be on here. He always pretended he was some kind of doctor / Ian. I don't even know what the hell he called himself. What doctor has the time to spend trolling people on social media? I don't believe anything anymore about that guy. Unbelievable. Just an idiot. All right. You guys mind going back to this now? So here we go.
But I don't think they know all of the verbiage, and I think this is very important because it sets the tone for what was about to come. So I'm going to read you part of it. This is how it started. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days.
It's weird. It's the way that's written, it kind of does make you feel like she actually had... like she was alive when they sent that out, in a way. But it's also possible she wasn't alive, and it was just a last-ditch effort to try to get her to, get them to send a ransom, get Savannah, being her, to send a ransom now.
So they're saying they will only hold her for 7 days.
To send the ransom in, not to know.
So they're saying they will only hold her for 7 days.
For 7 days, right. Then they get pretty demanding and snarky with how they address Savannah. And mind you, that's also important, right? They're addressing just Savannah.
Yeah.
They don't say the Guthrie family. Hello, Savannah, we have your mother.
We always wondered if it was like about who she was, or,
Right.
or did they just happen upon her not knowing that it was going to garner this attention? But it seems like this was about, or they at least like not necessarily about Savannah, but they knew Savannah had money.
Yes.
At a minimum.
I think so. Savannah, I believe, was obviously, the target of where we would get the money from
Yeah.
if you were the person who was targeting this. And I think there's a reason maybe why they targeted her. I'll get into that too.
Okay.
I'm going to read you 3 more parts of this ransom note, and then we'll kind of talk about it after. So this is what it went on to say. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson.
Yeah, I mean, 12 hours. So what does that mean in terms of distance, within 12 hours? They probably, didn't want anybody to know how far away they were by saying, well, we get there in 30 minutes, Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Something. Try to hold me tightly, pose like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will never stop, yo. Don't know. Turn off the lights. It's too fast. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Love all you do and who you are. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad there's people that actually understand. I mean, I don't like I've said before, I don't like when I feel the certain ways at night, when I'm doing the shows and,
So they're saying they will only hold her for 7 days.
For 7 days, right. Pretty demanding and snarky with how they address Savannah. And mind you, that's also important, right? They're addressing just Savannah.
Yeah.
They don't say the Guthrie family. Hello, Savannah, we have your mother.
We always wondered if it was like about who she was, or,
Right.
or did they just happen upon her not knowing that it was going to garner this attention? But it seems like this was about, or they at least like not necessarily about Savannah, but they knew Savannah had money.
Yes.
At a minimum.
I think so. Savannah, I believe, was obviously, the target of where we would get the money from
Yeah.
if you were the person who was targeting this. And I think there's a reason maybe why they targeted her. I'll get into that too.
Okay.
I'm going to read you 3 more parts of this ransom note, and then we'll kind of talk about it after. So this is what it went on to say. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson.
what do you guys think about that part right there? Do you think that they're I think, you go, ooh, 12 hours. Ooh, how that could be a million miles away, but that could actually be somebody really close that's trying to make it seem like they're far away. Except there's other parts too, like she brought up the fact that they said, we want Bitcoin in this somehow in US dollars. But saying US, why would you put US dollars in there unless you were some other nation, like, another nationality, like somebody from Mexico might say, hey, I want US dollars, not Mexico, because I don't know. I mean, if you're from Mexico, would you even say, because if you immediately say, I want it in pesos, well, you're saying you're from Mexico. But if you say US dollars, then it's like, well, then you must be from, I don't know. I mean, don't you have to be kind of specific, I guess? I mean, maybe you're admitting that, I don't know. Because if you said to somebody, yeah, send that money over in Bitcoin, I think the default would be to send it over in US dollars. So I'm not really sure when the clarification there. What do you guys make of that? That's pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always thought they live pretty close.
Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours
12
of
hours.
deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson.
And it also says within 12 hours.
If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this
I mean, that's pretty cold. Like, if she really is still alive right now, that's really cold. It doesn't match the apology. Hey, Carl with a C, thank you so much for your support and generosity and everything, and the PayPal and everything. Really appreciate it. And thank thank you for getting, you and Chris O'Connell doing your little battle. I mean, it's very generous of you guys. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your nice words and comments as well. Thank you.
If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest.
I don't think she's alive here. There's no way they would tell her that. There's no way in hell. The kidnappers they're not going to tell their victim, if they don't pay, we're going to kill you on this date. Why would they tell them that? Nobody tells them that because there's no reason to. You might do it if you didn't get your payment. But I think they're just trying to. I think that Savannah is not alive when this note is written. I mean, not Savannah. Nancy's not alive when this note is written, because she died soon after. But then the thing is, it's really weird. It's really weird that there's an apology that came after such a sort of brutal first email. And I think they wrote it that way intentionally to have an emotional effect to try to get a payment without having to verify anything. But the FBI said, hey, we need you to, we need verification here. That's wild. Man.
If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help.
Sounds like the new Blazer owner there.
Had a white smartwatch that was on the floor near her.
I just skipped it over to the other stuff, but let me listen to that last part.
You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you.
Yeah, so they're hoping it goes going, like the message is going right to Savannah. I wonder if they thought that, see, the first day they put that out, I mean, it's possible she's still alive. And then, I don't know. I don't think so. It's crazy because they didn't send out the Daily Mail, not the Daily Mail. They're just like the Daily Mail. What's the name of that? TMZ. They didn't send it to TMZ till the next day. So isn't that interesting? That they sent it to TMZ the next day after writing it this one. So they're hoping she gets it, but they didn't hear anything back. So they might have thought, well, if we get the TMZ, they'll hear it. They'll get it. And then they sent it to TMZ the next day because maybe they were desperate to hear something. Yeah, that's wild.
You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you.
Yeah. So they're just hoping that Savannah would blink and send the money in right then. But what's interesting is the apology says that even had she sent that in, it wouldn't have made any difference because she died before. You see how this is all, it all makes sense. So that means, if you think about it like that, then that means the first ransom letter, I think it's almost certainly written after Nancy's not even alive. So they made it really harsh like that to try to get to Savannah, to get her to send the money in without any leverage at all. And when it didn't work, and but see, what the odd part is that whoever did this felt bad after doing it. You get it? Yeah, man, this guy, it's really pretty strange. They felt bad. So Nancy's not alive. They wrote it harshly to try to, they were hoping it'd go right to Savannah and that Savannah would blink, send the money in without ever having to prove life at all because they couldn't. And they would have just disappeared into the sunset. But then they didn't get the money. And whoever these people are, after 2 or 3 days of watching Savannah and the other siblings speaking and looking sad, they literally put out another message, sort of stopping all the communications, but trying to make Savannah feel better about how it all went down. Isn't that weird? In some ways, that makes you think it's somebody closer to the family, believe it or not. I mean, it's sort of odd, or somebody that was just, it does have that little strange feeling to it. Yeah, I wonder if they would have actually let her go, the money, and she was alive. I wonder if they would have never ever actually let her go.
Had a white smartwatch that was on the
let me go
floor
back.
near
Listen.
her bed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest
Yeah.
of everyone.
It's in your hands. You better hurry up and send it. Yeah, there's no time for the... What's weird is that they didn't say that... why was there multiple deadlines? On that first one, if you wanted it right away, like she's not alive, you got to get it right now. You've only got 24 hours to send this in.
Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone.
No, that doesn't make her feel bad at all. That makes her feel a little bit better. It doesn't just make her feel bad.
Your mother is aware of this, and
The first note, she already knew it was to her. The second one was to make her feel better.
your mother is aware of this,
so
and her
obvious.
life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement.
Well, yeah, when they say contact me, that's because there's a person writing the note,
Your mother is aware of this,
That's-
and her life is able to help you. Had a white smartwatch that was on the floor.
Okay, so that's what it said in the message, that they found that, hey, there was a white smartwatch. Wow. Try to say white smartwatch 3 times quick. White smartwatch, oh, I start going, my mouth hurts.
To help you.
All right.
Had a white smartwatch that was on the floor near her bed, like at the foot of her bed. And then there was this floodlight that was destroyed in the backyard. So those 2 clues are what gave the FBI kind of the wherewithal to say,
This is not a hoax.
Yeah, and you know what, I think, I don't know if anybody had the broken lights on the following day at that time that the letter was sent out.
This is not a hoax.
at least they didn't think so, or they were investigating it as possibly legitimate. But for those who haven't heard it, this is the verbiage that's in ransom note number 2. We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions.
So this is, I guess, we've already got all this. This was already out.
Grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions. We never intended to hurt note number 2. We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions. We never intended to hurt her.
So there's we in the second one because that's the group, but the person when they wrote the first one was just like talking about themselves as the person writing it, you know.
Number 2. We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We are truly sorry.
Yeah, so it's weird, right? To me, it seems like these are two people. That's why I always think it's like a guy and a girl. And they were just trying to get some money, trying to get some money, and they were trying to act tough with the little ransom note. But they're techie, so the guy probably knew a way to circumvent law enforcement being able to track a Bitcoin transaction, and they just wanted to get the money sent. But they didn't want to kill her. They literally did not want to kill her. And so when she died, they actually felt bad. It doesn't make them good people. It just means that they're more normal-ish than a psycho killer like Koberger, right? They're different types. These guys were just trying to get the money. And so that's how I look at this. And then maybe the female was like, man, I don't know. Or both of them. Who the hell knows? I'm just saying, if you were doing it purely for the money, and you're not a cold-blooded psycho, and you thought, oh, we can do this, man. Look at this. She's really rich. We can get it sent over. But then it goes wrong, and you didn't want, I mean, imagine if you did something like that. You abduct, I don't know how to really come up with an example. Let's see. Let's say you had to get your son to the hospital really quick. Your car broke down, and you sort of commandeer somebody else's vehicle. You put your kid in the car, and you rush to the hospital, but the elderly person you stole the car from died in there. And then you really feel bad about it. Well, I mean, man, you carjacking, what a nut job. What are you doing? I mean, it's a terrible example, okay? I'm just saying these people, all they were trying to do is get the money. Right? Right, I've said like Bonnie and Clyde, right? They're just trying to get the money. And they didn't get the money. They didn't want anybody to die or anything. They were just acting tough in that first one to see if they could quickly get the money because she wasn't even alive then. And then after watching days of continual sort of begging and pleading, they put out the message, apologizing and saying, listen, even had you sent the money in on our first demand, it wouldn't have made any difference at all. That's kind of an interesting thing to admit. Why would you even put that in there? That's because you're actually trying to alleviate some of the pain because remember we heard in the news that the brother almost immediately said, I wonder if she was taken because of you to Savannah. And that was in the media. So these guys knew that was going on. So even though that is true, that she was abducted because Savannah Guthrie is the one with the money, we've said all these things. So when you listen to this whole episode on Crime Junkies, we've said all of that. Every single thing that we've talked about already. We talked about it months ago. Every single element. But other than the new information that I just played you. So I'm not going to play, we're not playing their whole thing. I'm just using this little bit here, the 2 minutes here. But we've talked about all of the same stuff ad nauseum. What do you guys think? Wonder if they had planned for if she died. I don't know. Yeah. Imagine if they have seen Gray's video from looking, because they have. I don't know. It is sort of interesting how there's like certain phraseology and stuff like that. You hear some people use the exact same thing that we say. They'll say stuff like, people online say this, and it's exactly what I've said. So it's not like people online, Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's interesting to get that information. Oh yeah, so here's what I was going to do now. In the same podcast by Crime Junkies, they mentioned a woman who was a detective who does these, what's that called? Ah, shit. On that one, man, I'll just have to open it up. No, that's not it. Oh, Lisa Miller. And then she's on that Substack. Where the hell did I get that? Hidden Killer. It's interesting. I thought I put it. I have to go find it. Maybe I put it on a different day. My excited utterances. Okay, here's one of them. On Substack. That's when words become evidence. So they're talking about the words being used, like for example, saying stuff like all the things that we've already talked about. You know, perished. They were thinking maybe they looked it up AI. We went through that whole. Remember that we did all that stuff. No, it doesn't mean that. It means less than 12 hours. So I don't think it means that they're 12 hours away. I think it means that they're just saying with less than 12 hours because 12-hour drive could be anywhere within, 1,000 miles, 700 miles or something. That's what it means. Okay, so let's look at this. This is let me put this in here. You guys can go follow her on Substack. There's her. It's called My Excited. Her little. I don't know what you call it, but it's called My Excited Utterances. Different things that she says. That's the name of her Substack. All right. Hey, thanks, Mylea. Yeah, nobody. It's just, I think one of the ones that bugged me the most was when, that whole, well, I don't know if it was Brian Enton when he said, "Wow, so you guys," this is like 4 months after I said it, was, "Wow, you guys, it's starting to look like maybe they removed the camera because the car was going to pull up there." And that's the one I just went, man, you got to be kidding me. I mean, we had said that for so long, it was almost unbelievable. All right, so here it is. This is her, she says, The Miller Theory of the Nancy Guthrie Case by Lisa J. Miller. And that's her name, but her Substack is My Excited Utterances by Lisa J. Miller. So you can go in there and follow her. You can join it, etc. Said retired detective, senior law enforcement, executive chief investigator. Editor's note from Lisa. Since publication of this article, Reuters has reported that the FBI now believes the ransom communications associated with the Nancy Guthrie case were hoaxes. Okay, you put that in there that quick? And not authentic communications. No. Because this analysis partially relied on the possibility that, well, she should have waited a day. If I was her, I would take that out now. Because the very next day, the FBI said that they're treating it as a ransom gone wrong. And the weird part is this wrench attack thing. Remember my other theory that I had a long time ago that was the abduction for ransom gone wrong for hire. Remember that one? So wouldn't that be interesting if the original hire are the ones that felt bad? They were just new. Oh, and so that's where it sort of maybe, feels like a closer to home situation, right? Like somebody that could then hire somebody else out to do an abduction for ransom, knowing that you have a relative or a friend or somebody that's really rich, and then you hire these other people to go do it, and then through Bitcoin and whatnot, later you transfer it back and you get a cut of it or something. or the Bitcoin account is, and that's what this is right here. It's the, I think that's what this whole theory is, that there's somebody else that's in charge of the whole thing. I mean, that's this theory, okay? I'm still for like a Bonnie and Clyde crew, but it wouldn't shock me one bit if it's, you know, there's somebody else who hired maybe one or two other people to conduct an abduction, and then that's it. They're just holding her, and then there's this other person who is doing the communications for, you know, dropping the ransom off, etc. Hey, don't you guys like that GHI better than the one before, though? I think it's better. GHI, the spherical look. Hey, you guys, we got Wild Bill Wassman up there trying to do a wave. But you guys have already been so generous in here. Appreciate it. Well, they might have figured out a way to do it. I mean, obviously, the people who were going to get the Bitcoin figured a way to not get caught, or they wouldn't be doing it. Everybody, you know, if you're that technically savvy, then you would know that there is a way to track you unless you figure out a way to not be tracked. All right? So everybody thinks that, oh, well, I know everything, so I can't, they couldn't have done it. Well, you don't know, man. I mean, you guys heard at the beginning of the show 2 days ago, right? That was one of the creepiest things I've ever heard, was over at ChatGPT, they had in there's something when you go on these websites to test out a program. It's called a sandbox. It's just sort of a place, a controlled environment where you can test out different things. And so then it had ChatGPT broke out of the sandbox and then got on the web and then hacked into another website, and then sort of got into their secure areas. That is right out of Terminator, okay? This is, somebody's got to do something to put like a quick halt on it. But what's scary about it is people like Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, or whatever, they're not going to put those safeguards in. They're going to let that do whatever the hell it's going to go do. I think that was one of the creepiest things in a long time that I've seen. You guys doesn't seem like it means anything to you guys. Hey, all right. 25 months of pure hell right there. DDWM. Did anybody hear what I just said about the AI thing? Not one comment came back on that. Anyways, there's people out there that are smart and know how to get by all that. So let's see what it says in here. I mean, so they can avoid having somebody be able to track them. They must have figured out how to do it, or they wouldn't have done it. Did anybody hear that story that I just mentioned about the... Am I muted or what? Apparently that didn't bother you guys anywhere as much as it bothered me. So I'll just move on to something else. Yikes. It's just so weird. Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's creepy, isn't it? Strange 9952, that it just thought it was a task, and it found a solution by doing crazy stuff. So what if its task was You remember that movie War Games when you were a kid and they launched the nukes? That's what this sort of feels like. It got going and it gets in there. And it's just playing a game, it's in the sandbox. Remember that? That's what it was. This is almost identical to War Games. In that movie, it was something like they were doing these test simulations, but then the AI system, whatever it was, the computer got into, the national defense stuff and got a hold of being able to launch the rockets, the nukes. It was crazy. It's almost the same movie. Yeah. Yeah, it got out of the box. Yeah, I saw yours, 6 Kids, but if you go up there for like 10 minutes, there was nothing. I know, that's one of the things that always bothers me in here. It's like, I wish you guys would, we could go back and forth on something. Sometimes there's like no response. Yeah, rogue AI, I almost want to go watch War Games again. It seems so much more appropriate now. And then also Terminator. You should go watch that again. I guess we didn't. I guess we didn't learn from them. Oh, wait. So now they're doing an addendum. Okay, so this is what it says. While the FBI reported assessment weakens the communication-based portions of my theory, the other unresolved question remains, including offender selection, surveillance indicators, removal, logistical concealment. I will publish further analysis as additional verified facts emerge. And then they went, addendum. Additional reporting from Fox News, Michael Ruiz, indicates sources close to the investigation are split. Some believe the ransom communications are inauthentic. Others remain cautious about the conclusion, while it's more, I would say it's more, they believe that they're real. That's why they're looking at it as an abduction for ransom. Authorities have not publicly confirmed the authenticity or inauthenticity of the notes. I'm treating the Reuters reporting as credible, but not yet fully settled, and will continue to update as the picture clarifies. Second addendum. So now it's more. Since the earlier addendum above, Jesus, the FBI issued an on-record statement provided to reporter Mary Coleman. The FBI and its task force partners have received several ransom notes over the course of this investigation. Some have been deemed to be extortion attempts without legitimacy. Other ransom demands may potentially be legitimate and are still being investigated as such. This case continues to be investigated as a kidnapping for ransom case. So I guess I don't know why you wouldn't just delete all that. This is a meaningful, more precise picture than the earlier Reuters reporting suggested. The FBI is not saying all communications were fake. It's saying some were. Others remain under active investigation as potentially legitimate. I think that what they're really saying is, we not only are investigating them as legitimate, we believe that they're real. That's why we've continued to investigate this case as a kidnapping for ransom the entire time, okay? Because they believe that they're real. This matters for the framework. My original analysis rested on the possibility that at least some early communications were authentic. So now, I guess what she's doing is she's going through the reporting and then getting back to the point where it supports her original theory again. That possibility remains open on the FBI's own account rather than closed. I'm not reinstating the framework communications-based pillars as confirmed. That would repeat the same error in the opposite direction. But I'm also not treating them as dead. The lesson from the last 24 hours holds either way. Don't anchor to any single source's framing, including mine, until the record is on the record and stable. This case has now shifted twice in a single day. It will likely shift again. Yeah, I totally agree with everything that she wrote up there. I mean, that's exactly how we felt. You guys remember that? Like, oh my God, these ransom notes aren't even real. What do we do now? If those ransom notes aren't real, you guess what? They have nothing. The FBI has absolutely nothing. The investigators have nothing. There is nothing. So we better all hope to God that those first two are real, and I think they believe that they're real, and that's good. How about you? Jesus. Core thesis. The involved wrench attack. How long is this thing? Oh man, wow. That's a huge theory. Well, I guess we gotta do it. Or maybe I can just play it. What do you guys think of that? What if how's that gonna go?
This was a calculated wrench attack, a targeted abduction designed to use...
Do you guys would you rather have me read it or have that read it? Yeah, I mean, they seem to know. How would you know about the white watch on the ground? Well, yeah, I do think the ones were hoaxes. But the one that's talking to Harvey, maybe that would be that along. What do you mean that? I don't know what that means. Do you think all the subsequent ones were hoaxes? I think they are. Yeah. All right, this was a calculated wrench attack. Maybe I need to play. What do we got for music in here? Dun, dun, dun. Ominous. How about the dark, cryptic? Nah, how about Dark Times? That's always a good one. What's Cryptic Sorrow sound like? No, I think Dark Times or... Oh, there's another one called Lost Times. This one. Yeah. This was a calculated wrench attack, a targeted abduction designed to use Nancy Guthrie as a leverage instrument against Savannah Guthrie's wealth. The plan was architecturally sophisticated at the digital and financial level, physically executed by an unsophisticated local actor, and collapsed when the human variable, Nancy's fragile health, was not accounted for in the operational planning. The mastermind cut losses and moved on. The local actor fled. The body remains with neither a party willing to disclose its location. With hundreds of FBI agents, world-class resources, and months of investigation, no one has been arrested or indicted for the original ransom communications. This theory is the most coherent, available explanation for that silence. What a wrench attack is and why evolved matters. A wrench attack is a form of targeted coercion in which a person close to the primary target is used as a pressure point to extract something of value: money, cryptocurrency, information, or compliance from the primary target. The name derives from the blunt force logic. You apply pressure to what someone loves in order to make them give you what you want. A wrench attack does not require that someone be beaten. The threat of force, the taking itself, is sufficient. You do not need to lay a hand on someone if the fear of what could happen is enough to compel compliance. The mechanism is leverage, not violence for its own sake. The word evolved matters. Criminal plans evolve based on the target. Savannah Guthrie is a high-profile public figure with significant wealth. A direct extortion demand to Savannah would be immediately flagged, immediately traced, and immediately actionable by law enforcement. Taking Nancy, elderly, living alone, isolated in a secluded desert home, medically dependent, creates leverage that Savannah could not ignore and could not easily hand off to authorities without consequence to her mother's safety. The plan was designed around that dynamic. As for whether Savannah Guthrie personally holds cryptocurrency, that is irrelevant to the theory. Anyone can convert money to Bitcoin quickly and easily through exchanges that require minimal verification. That is precisely how ransom demands of this structure are designed to work. With hundreds of FBI agents deployed, world-class forensic resources, blockchain surveillance capability, and over 117 days of investigation, why has no one been arrested or indicted for the original ransom communications? Hold on, I gotta start it over again. Makes me... why has no one been arrested or indicted for the original ransom communications sent to KOLD and TMZ? Because the person who sent them is operating from a jurisdiction where the FBI can identify but cannot touch them. Blockchain surveillance can map the wallet. Digital forensics can profile the sender. None of it produces an arrest if there's no extradition treaty and no legal lever to pull. The jurisdictional gap is not a failure of the investigation. It is the architecture of the crime. This is an investigative theory based on professional law enforcement experience, knowledge, and publicly available facts. It represents one possible explanation for the known evidence. It could be wrong, in whole or in part. So that's her actual theory, but that's very similar to that. That's similar to the one where it's a ransom for hire. This would be a random person, but you got to ask yourself this. What doesn't make sense on this one? What is the one element that doesn't make sense? You know what it is? It is that they wrote an apology note. Anybody that would do a wrench attack like this, that third party that lives outside, the one that would be the communicator, why would they give two craps about writing in a note to make somebody feel better? That would be a ruthless type. Somebody has probably done it before. It just wouldn't make sense to me that they'd write that apology second note at all. They could have just said, this is the last... Remember on the first note it said, this is the last time we're going to communicate with you. We just need the money. And then, why did you send the second one? Why would a ruthless person living in a different jurisdiction need to send something like that? Why would you do that? Anybody? You guys are dead as a doornail in here. Type, 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 type. Man, you guys got to really get back to typing and communicating. That's how you get the algorithm to shift if you guys are actually participating. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting theory. And it's very similar to the abduction for ransom for hire gone wrong theory. Except they have it in this case that it's some person. What are you doing, Jason? See, it's drama, lies. Nobody knows what you're saying. Yeah, where y'all go? Yeah, it's like type, you guys. Yeah, so it's weird how it doesn't seem like so Nancy, I think, really did die early. And so they knew that, but this guy thought, maybe I'll try one attempt And that was it. And then the next one was an apology. So it could be that it's a combination, a wrench attack, and then somebody a little bit closer to them. You know? I think it's like a little bit closer. Yeah. I believe the second letter completely. What would be the point of that, Jason? The second letter is what sort of changes everything. I don't know. Maybe they just tried that out. But it could be like somebody else's, like somebody that actually gave a shit is the original, the main end, or I guess the mastermind, as they like to call it. Yeah, the first one, Nancy's not even alive, so they were just trying to throw down, a haymaker to try to get Savannah to blink and send the money in. And then when it didn't get sent in, what's the point of those other two, not the other two, but the second message. Anyways, January 11th, identified by investigators as a significant date of interest. Google initially told investigators that a Nest surveillance image of a masked man at Nancy's front door showing the suspect without a backpack, unlike the February 1st footage, was possibly from January 11th. Yeah. Suspicious vehicle is reported in the vicinity of Nancy's home on January 31st at 10 a.m. Investigators later request neighbor surveillance footage specifically cover. Well, did they actually call it in that day, though? Or was it like, oh, we saw this weird vehicle after Nancy was abducted? Yeah, I don't know why they did the 7-day part. They might have put 7 days in there to make it seem like Nancy's still alive, Oh, yeah, we'll get 7 days. She's healthy. Everything's great. So they throw the 7 days in there to make you think that, try to think about what would you think if they said that. Okay, we've got time. She's alive. Okay, great. But in their minds, they know she's not alive at that point. They know right then that they're not alive. So that means they put that in there as sort of a overkill, oh yeah, she's still alive, 7 days, hell, Right. Well, that's what I was thinking. It could be that the mastermind actually is somebody closer to the family than people realize. That's really the only thing that it would explain. Because in the real world, a mastermind wouldn't send an apology. But you might do that if you realize that people that you were close to are feeling like it's their fault. Like Savannah, and then you would send in a, maybe, hey, nothing you could have done. It's pretty weird. That's why I've always told everybody that the second ransom note is significant. It means something. It doesn't fit. It's kind of odd. All right, then we got, so they're just going through the timeline stuff. Yeah, we already have most of this. 5:32, Nancy travels to the local family's home, got there at 5:42, then left there at about 9:38, got home at 9:48. Garage door opens, garage door shuts at 9:50, totally makes sense. 1:47, the doorbell camera disconnects. That's when the guy's at the front door. That's the time he removed that camera. He removed the camera so that the vehicle that they're going to be pulling up later doesn't show up on there. Then at 2:12, that's likely he's in the backyard. And the thing is I'm more at the belief now that I think there's only one person that went in the home, but I think there's another person driving, and that there was a walkie-talkie in that guy's pocket. You could see it. And then right around maybe 2:20-ish, that's when he radios over and says, hey, pull the car around. Then at 2:28, she's being moved into the car, and that's about the time the pacemaker app shows it disconnects from the phone. And those are really the only significant time frame elements. They got the 212. Let's see what she's saying about these things. Let's see how similar, like, this detective is to what we've said this whole time. I haven't read any of these. 147, doorbell camera disconnects. The Nest device is tampered with. The suspect first covers it with a gloved hand, then rips part of a plant from the yard to block the lens. Now you use it to take it off. He knew the camera location and field of view consistent with prior reconnaissance. So that means maybe she's saying that that camera would film the car pulling up. 212, Nest software detects a person on camera, no suspect video available, but this motion triggers trigger log survives in back end system metadata. The suspect is visible in recovered digital dust, masked arm, gloves, carrying a full back. You're wrong. See, this isn't even correct here. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, doesn't this just make you frustrated, you guys? This kind of stuff. It's just like, She's saying that 212 is that video at the front door. That isn't. That isn't what that is. 212, there was digital dust. It turns out it's the guy, it's not right. 147 is that time. 212 is a camera in the backyard. The camera at the front at 212 was not in play anymore. I mean, because like a doorbell camera disconnects. Right, it's gone at this point. It's disappeared. It's completely out of the show at this point. You see it. It's not there. He removed it. So how can it be available at 212? Nest software detects a person on camera. No subscription video is available, but this motion trigger log survives in the background system metadata. The suspect is visible in recovered digital dust, masked arm, gloved, carrying a full backpack. See, that's not the right time. I don't know. Hey, thanks, Karen, up there. All right, let's see if anything else. 228, pacemaker app shows disconnects from Nancy's phone. This is the hard forensic timestamp of abduction. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's about the time she was being removed. The moment Nancy was moved beyond wireless range of her home, she is 84 years old, frail, with severely compromised back, pacemaker dependent, taken without shoes, without medication, in her pajamas. That's all accurate. I don't know how you get... this isn't the first time I've seen the same error by people right here. This 212 thing. That picked up nothing. They just said it detected a person based on the information. Not that they see a person, it just detected one. I don't know. Who knows, man? Maybe it'll all turn out like the camera at the front door. That's 228 when he's doing that, even though it was disconnected at 147. It just, see what I'm saying? And you're seeing him remove it at one. So it was removed, and then you see him trying to remove it. So that would have to be the same time. He's not going to wait 45 more minutes to go take it off. February 2nd, KOLD got the first ransom note. And KGUN. TMZ didn't get it. So she doesn't have that right either, because TMZ got it the next day. Well, she says 2nd to the 3rd. The note demanded $4 million in Bitcoin by February 5th, escalating to $6 million by February 9th, if unpaid. February 5th, Derek Kalela, 42 of Hawthorne, California, is arrested for sending fraudulent ransom texts. February 7th through 8th, the second communication is received by KOLD. It contains no deadline. Unlike the first, Mary Coleman reads it. I don't think that was on. Hold on. I gotta go check. That doesn't sound right to me. Yeah. No. Can't find it. Well, maybe that's it. No, I didn't continue on. Oh yeah, I do. Well, I didn't keep going though with the second ransom note. But KOLD receives the first ransom note at 5 o'clock, and then TMZ got it on the 3rd. And then the second one I thought was received on the 5th, if I'm missing. It was the day after Savannah Guthrie gave that plea, so maybe it was the 6th. I don't think it was the 7th though, as we just saw. I don't know if the family's ever really in hiding. They're just... decentralized mixing service pool, Bitcoin. What is this stuff? The ransom demand specified a Bitcoin wallet. That destination was chosen deliberately. Bitcoin is pseudonym, not anonymous. Every transaction is recorded permanently on a public blockchain ledger that anyone can read. Chain analysis firms like Chain Analysis, Elliptic, and TRM Labs can trace wallet-to-wallet movement, cluster related addresses, and build a transaction graphs and reveal behavior patterns across thousands of hops. Multi-wallet shell movement. Bitcoin can be moved rapidly across multiple unhosted wallets in succession. Oh, wow. Breaking simple linear tracing. Each hop requires a new analysis step and potentially a new subpoena. Oh, wow. That's crazy. See, there you go. See? Decentralized mixer. Mixing services pool Bitcoin from multiple sources and redistribute it, breaking the chain of custody between the original wallet and any destination. Services operating in non-cooperative jurisdictions cannot be compelled to disclose records. Yeah, I don't want to keep reading through this whole thing, but maybe we can go, let's revisit this thing. I mean, it's pretty long here. But let's just kind of, maybe tomorrow we can go over the rest of it or something, if you want to. All right, well, hey, maybe we should do the call-ins. Why not? There we go. So now we can check out my new phone system. Isn't this sweet? Look at this. How cool is this screen right here, you guys? Got this caller, and all you get to see is their voice moving like that. 1, 2. Yeah, we got that one, and then down below, if you guys send in any super chats or whatever, those still show up there. I guess we have the event list I could throw in there. Yeah, see, there you guys. You're all right there. A doctor dissertation. You're getting carpal tunnel? Well, who else is calling in? Yeah, I don't really care about AI. The whole AI wrote it thing is just, it's like, who gives a shit? We're not going to be able to figure it out. It doesn't mean anything. Whoever gifted a membership, please keep the news. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of this is something I spent a lot of time building, trying to make this thing. So I'm not getting rid of the setup. I got rid of all the other ones. I just said, screw it. I'm never going to use those again, you know. I mean, I guess I have a full screen all by itself, you know, like just like that. That's not what I want, but like this, you know, so you can, if I had something I needed to show, full screen. There, it's a little better. Didn't you say Cal Ripken Jr.'s mom? Yeah. Didn't we do a show on that? Or did I never get to that? Oh, yeah. I think I looked it all up, but we never did it. Or did I do? I don't remember. I was in a bad place mentally. Yeah, I had a whole thing on that. Let's see. Where did I put that? Yeah, Cal Ripken. I have this whole folder right here. That was on that. Yeah, that's a case where they never caught the guy. And he's still, like, there's surveillance shots of him and everything. With his face.
Call from
James, a.k.a. Jason Bourne.
to accept, press 1.
Hello.
What's going on?
How's it going? How you feeling?
Oh. Well, I think my comments were a little bit off tonight, yeah, because I am on some medication. But, man, I first want to just give a quick shout-out to the freaks in the house because I witnessed what I felt was history tonight. I thought that was just...
that was pretty cool.
I'm telling you, man, what a special thing to watch and see take place. And, I mean, Chris O'Connell.
And then the trolls show up. You know, they try to dismantle all that.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't, you know, I mean, I know they bother you, and rightfully so, but I know who you are as a person, and the people in here that support you know who you are as a person, so it's just kind of like it doesn't stick, you know, but I know it bothers you, and you want to get it off your chest, and that is a fair thing. So, but anyway, the new set, Mr. Gray Hughes, y'all did yourself.
How about we'll do the Cal Ripken one tomorrow? Because it's very...
Yeah, what's going on with Cal Ripken?
Well, that was his mom got abducted in 2012, and it's like really crazy. That's one... Coffindaffer brought it up, but I went and did what I do. You know how I go out and I get the articles, and it's pretty crazy. You know, it's just... There's surveillance footage of this guy. He abducted her, and then he turned her back in, but he... Yeah, he's never been caught. Still, to this day, he has you see his face, like clear, too. Nobody's caught him yet. Isn't that weird?
So he's basically just on the loose, but the evidence is there that he pretty much did it?
Yeah, it's...
Okay.
Well, no, it's not, they know he did it. Like, they know exactly who did it. They just can't find the guy. They can't capture him. You know?
Well, so our case here, our first one, starting out tonight, Mrs. Brophy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, Gray. You know, the more and more I think about this, I just think that, you know, so she had the water bottle in her car. Did she have a second water bottle? Would she, if she was walking far, you would think that she would want to have a water bottle, but... You know, I was thinking, okay, well, if she did have some type of medication that she was going to use, Does that mean that she would want to have some water to drink it down
Yeah, I
with,
thought
or
that,
would she
too.
not?
Well, that's
You
what I
know?
thought too. If she
So-
maybe want to drink it down with water, but who knows? Maybe she took the medication while sitting there, knowing it would take a certain amount of time, so she had a while to walk somewhere.
Possible.
Who knows?
So,
Yeah.
but I just, I wonder that them doing, I mean, supposedly, based on all things that we've seen, a thorough job of the park itself and the trail loops. And so I just wonder either that it's just in an opposite direction that they're not expecting, but it's close by. It's just in an opposite direction. So everywhere they looked, it's just completely in an opposite direction, but it's still close by. It's just not where you normally would think to go look.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's just what I'm wondering, because that would explain then, because if somebody says, well, where is the body? Tell me where the body is. Why haven't they found it? And that would be an answer that you could give, is that, well, it is out there, but it's just in a spot that's opposite of where people have looked.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't really. I just kind of said all that I can say on that earlier today, and it's just, I still think she went and did something to herself, and hard to say where she went. But let's just switch over to.
The one thing that-
I just want to do
Yeah,
Guthrie
go
because
ahead.
we were just talking about Guthrie, so switching back like that is confusing to people.
Okay. I thought you wanted to cover both, but yeah. The Guthrie, the Guthrie letters I have, obviously we have questions about the first one and how truthful it is, and, we're going to kill Nancy when in fact, Nancy was likely already dead. And so, there's the fruit of the poisonous tree. Because, if somebody says, well, I want you to believe the first letter, believe it, or don't believe the first letter, but I want you to believe the second one. And I want to believe the second one. Certainly it sounds persuasive. It sounds like somebody who had remorse and guilt and, wanted the audience to think that. And, maybe it is this mastermind person who's connected to the family that has this emotional attachment that, hey, I see them going through, trying times and suffering for mom, so I'll get on there and let them know that the mom is gone and mom is buried with nature. But as soon as a third-party mastermind is introduced, in my mind, it kind of starts going to that web of people that other channels like to go to. Like, oh, there's this interconnected web of people with the chef who's the smart person and telling the person on the porch what to do. And I just don't know if I'm ready to buy into that idea and still want to go pretty much with, a Bonnie and Clyde scenario, because I feel like they would have told on something would have came out, with another player involved or multiple players involved. And it sounds to me like, the best secrecy combination is two people.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, there wasn't how often did I tell you guys that the apology one is the sort of outlier, kind of the piece that's a clue for law enforcement? I think that is. I don't think there'd be absolutely no reason, and like even in the wrench theory, for somebody to write a second one to apologize for like what they did. Just doesn't make any sense. So what it means is, I think, is that it's either, like really people that were, actually didn't want to hurt her and wrote that. The wrench attack one, where it's some mastermind with some lackeys doing the abduction, makes no sense that you would write an apology in that one, especially how severe you were in the first message. So that means that the first message in tone and everything was bogus. It was just an attempt to scare Savannah into sending money in my opinion. It means that, it just means that the whole thing was bogus. Like, I don't know.
See if we can get her to bite and send in the money without asking for proof of life.
Yeah, and they didn't really feel that. The anger that they displayed in that isn't what like, oh, we're going to kill her. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And it just doesn't, hold on a second. Man, can you stop? Somebody keeps. Jesus, these people. Yeah, I keep getting these messages on here. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, I just think the first message to was just an attempt to get her to send Savannah to send money in without actually having Nancy's not even alive, so you're trying to get Savannah to send the money in, and it had all. I think it's all fake. If we'll kill her if this doesn't happen, we're gonna do this. We told her. They didn't tell her anything. So nothing in there is true. They were just trying to make Savannah hurry up. But that's why it was sort of weird, though, that then he said, well, for 7 days, you think you would just go like, you got 24 hours. You either send it in or this is going to happen. That would have been their best shot. But to throw 7 days in there, that probably made them feel like, but it's also like they put the 7 days in there. It almost seems like sort of as an overkill that they want you to think she's still alive. I mean, I can see them sort of, hey, you got 7 days, because internally, they knew that she wasn't alive. If she was alive, you might say one day or 2 days. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It's almost like they accidentally just sort of try to oversell that she's still alive for 7 days. And then, if it really is a wrench attack, I mean, I don't dislike that theory that she laid out there. It's not one that can't be true. But to send an apology to me means something different. It sort of makes it seem like the person actually cared about Savannah's feelings and cared that they killed somebody. I could see that being if it was a young, inexperienced couple who just did it for money, to have that feeling. But in a wrench attack, I wouldn't think that the original person who isn't running the show would ever write or risk sending in that second note. I could see a younger couple doing that because they felt bad about it, or like a inexperienced group.
Because the tone, right? So because the tone with a younger couple scenario, because the tone was so different from the first letter to the second letter, do you think then that he basically came over to her way of thinking and consented to the way that it was written, or that he didn't like it and just went along with it because she wanted to feel better and he didn't want any problems with her not feeling better?
Yeah, or it could just be the first one was overkill intentionally to try to get something, and they never felt that way. The second one is more how they are. That's what I'm trying to say. Like the first one was just somebody sounding like, oh my God, we're going to kill her in this amount of time if you don't send us the money. We told her, she's scared to death. Send it in. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Oh shit, we can't. Now they want proof. Because the next day they wanted proof. Remember, she even said like AI, we know about AI. Oh, they want proof. And then they sat around and waited. What do we do? What do we do? Shit. Okay. Look how bad they feel. Okay, we got to end this. We don't want them to feel crappy their whole life. We didn't mean to kill her. Just send that next note. Let's send it in. And because what was the gain by that? I mean, people want to pretend that, they're trying to, in case they get arrested, they want people to know that they didn't mean to. I don't buy that at all. That just seems ludicrous. I think that I think that people literally felt bad, like that's possible, right? Everyone makes it. If you don't, the part about true crime that I don't like a lot is when people don't like somebody, and we all don't like the abductors. People want every single thing. You got to treat them like they are Jeffrey Dahmer. If you don't treat them like Dahmer, then you're not doing justice. I think it's possible that you could have these shitty people who did something really shitty, that they actually didn't want her to die and felt bad when she died. I think that's absolutely a totally reasonable possibility, especially with somebody that's like younger and inexperienced, and they thought it was just a great time to try to get some money. Yeah.
Well, with Bonnie and Clyde, it would work. It certainly would work because you wouldn't need a third mastermind to be trying to work the puppet strings and having problems with doing that, because now the two people that you've hired to do it, first they're saying they're gung-ho, let's do this, and now, we feel bad about this, and under the mastermind, would the mastermind want them? If he hired them to go and do that, would he want them then to go putting that out?
I think I think the second note should be something that Miller, the writer, should revisit that and go, why would they write that second one? Because I think it's sort of, I think in the mastermind theory, the second note doesn't make any sense. If there's like this mastermind that hired two other people to do it, unless the mastermind is actually somebody close to the family, as I mentioned earlier. Because then that person might feel bad. See?
Well, I mean, ultimately, to me, if somebody's saying, listen, there's only two people that did this, and we have two letters out there, and we have every reason to believe that these two people wrote these two letters. So what are we forced to conclude? That the letter was written by Porch Guy. There's no other way to get, the first letter was, there's no other way to get around it. Because as soon as you say, well, no, he didn't write it, well, who are you left with then? The female wrote it?
Well, we don't know for certain, though, that it was a female. I just think there was. So it could have been, there could have been a guy that was in the car. Maybe he wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's say there was two and the other one was a guy. And, I mean, it could have, I mean, the thing is whoever wrote it is somebody that felt bad that, they didn't want her to die, and they also didn't want, so look at it like this. They didn't want Nancy to die, and they also don't want Savannah to feel the guilt, because she'll always feel guilty that that's the reason that she was abducted, but she didn't want, that because she has the money, that's why Savannah or Nancy was abducted. But whoever wrote the note didn't want her to feel bad about them not sending the money right away, because they were like, "Yeah, send us the money." And if they said that it wouldn't have mattered when you sent it, it wouldn't have saved her because she was already dead before even if you'd sent it in immediately. She wasn't alive. So it's kind of like, that's an interesting thing to want to make somebody feel better about that.
I would think, like, if I was the prosecutor and I had the female up on the stand, I'd say, and let's say it was Bonnie and Clyde, and I'd say, so did you know that Clyde composed the first letter? And let's say that she said, yes, I did. And then they say, all right, well, according to what you know at that time, was she alive? And then let's just say that she says, no, she wasn't alive.
Right.
And then it comes out that, so then you know that what Clyde wrote in that letter was a lie, didn't you? And she's going to have to say, yes, I did. And then let's say,
wait, what was that last sentence? What was that last sentence you said? The second?
So that you know that what he wrote in the letter was a lie.
In the first one, yeah. And the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and she would have to say yes. Okay? So then they would say, so in the second letter that we have here, is it your testimony today that you composed this letter? Yes, I did. And is it also true in this letter that you expected us to, the readers of this letter, to kind of feel that you felt guilty about this? Is that what your intent was behind this letter? And she would say, well, yes, it was. And then the prosecutor would say, well, but isn't it true, though, that in the first letter that it was stated that he was going to kill her?
And then she'd say, well, because we were trying to put pressure on Savannah so she'd send the money in.
Yeah. I mean, at that, and I'm not even a good prosecutor, as you know, but I think a good prosecutor could make her look like a liar. Like you never really felt
yeah,
any
if
guilt.
it turns out it's a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Yeah. Yeah.
She might be, oh, I really did, I felt guilt. And the prosecutor is going to say, you didn't feel any guilt when you were sitting in that car, did you? And you didn't feel any guilt when you saw blood coming out of her face, did you? And I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know that it would go that way, but I just think that a good prosecutor, would buy fruit of the poisonous tree of the first letter, and that she being involved with him to the extent that she was, and seeing that first letter be composed, that now she's on the hook for explaining her reactions in the second letter. And I wouldn't want to be tripping all over like, oh, well, yeah, you could put it out there, but is the jury really going to buy it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would. I don't see it going like that. Like if they're bringing her in, asking questions like on the stand like that. I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't even get her. I mean, you'd have to have her as a witness for the
against
prosecutor him. Against him, and I mean, you wouldn't have to be, but like you'd be. I don't know. It's both of them. They're. It's like nobody is more responsible than the other in a situation like this. If there were two people, I mean, she knew exactly what was happening. It's not like felony murder is another case where somebody, pulls up a car for a robbery and then, one of them, somehow during the robbery, the person in the house got killed and the person driving had no idea about that. They were just driving. Well, that'd be still felony murder. But in this case, that both of them knew that she was going to be abducted, physically taken from the house. And then, like they said, we didn't realize the extent of her health problems. It's sort of interesting. It's almost as like they knew that she had health problems. They just didn't realize the extent. The way that is. But it could be that when they got there, she said, well, I've got some heart problems. But the way it was worded, it almost sounded like they had prior knowledge of her heart issues. They just didn't realize the extent of it. So I thought
if you were going to take somebody for $4 million, you were going to want to make sure that they're a viable candidate for what you're going to do, to put them up to ransom, to make sure they're going to live for the period of time that you need to get them back to the family. Or else why do it if she's going to die? You'd have to know. You'd have to be relatively certain that she's a viable candidate, and I would argue that anyone close to the family would have a good idea of that already. Like they'd already be like, "Oh no, don't even think about her because we already know that she's got a pacemaker." Or, you know what I mean? That she can't get around. She's not very mobile. If it was someone close, 3 or 4 degrees out, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, because you just did that little short thing, Karen goes, he should get his law degree. What the hell are you talking about, man? That's ridiculous.
Well, no, I already told you, like a real prosecutor would make me look like an idiot.
No, I mean, but that isn't really, but that's just sort of, it's just so funny that she does that. It's crazy.
Well, I'm not professing anything. I'm just kind of showing that, and not necessarily like you would say that would even be a tack that would be taken, but the sweetest deal is going to be offered to the person who comes forward first.
Right,
and if she comes forward and she says, hey, I was just the driver. And,
I know what you're saying, but the way you said the story a minute ago, that would be him trying to make her seem guilty. The thing is, if you have somebody that's a witness up there on your side, you're just trying to have everything point to the other person, not him.
Yeah, right? Yeah. See, this is why the prosecutor would do a much better job than me.
Yeah, I guess if you're immune and you're up there, hell, you could make them look bad too, I guess.
I guess it depends what what you promised the person and what the goal is, but I don't know. I know that they want to say the mastermind, and I know it's all over the place, and I I just feel that the more people that you get involved, the greater likelihood that somebody's gonna crack for this money.
But it's sort of interesting, but it's not like in that case it isn't more people really. You know, it's kind of like there's still just Bonnie and Clyde, and then there's this other rando guy that's somewhere else that hired them to do it. You know, I mean, it is another person, but they're not connected in a way where it's like, oh my God, there's too many people talking with each other right now. Look at this. This is crazy, you know. I mean, one of them's going to say something. You know, you have this other person, and, you know, who the hell knows where, you know, it'd be so interesting just to finally know the answer. Let's say there is that situation where there's a mastermind, and then where does he live compared to the Bonnie and Clyde too, you know? You know, where do they live? Because it seems like Bonnie and Clyde live close, and but the guy writing it says we'll have her back within 12 hours if it is the scenario where there's a mastermind, because they want it to make it seem like they're far away.
And this is what I hear other people who I disagree with saying that, well, look at the behavior of Porch Perp and look how dumb he looks. And, well, obviously he couldn't have wrote the ransom letter.
Right.
He's not
yeah,
bright
I don't
enough
agree.
to write
I don't
something
agree
like
with
that.
any of those. Like that's the whole genesis of the wrench thing. It seems like everybody who brings it up says, look how stupid the guy at the front porch. They even brought that up on that show, the Crime Junkies. But it was like,
oh, yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah, they said, look how he's really dumb, but then you know, the one girl said, well, they haven't been caught, so. Yeah.
I mean, but they're overlooking what you had said a long time ago, is that he improvised on the spot. He knew that he couldn't tear his gloves. He knew he didn't want to release DNA. That's why he had all the gear he had on. And the easiest way to do it was to grab something from there that was natural to the location, you know, that wouldn't bother, you know, and go ahead and use it to pull it off. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, to me, but the improvisation shows that you can think on the spot. You can think on your feet. So I don't see a reason why he couldn't have wrote that letter.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, he or the other girl, the girl. I mean, either one of them could have wrote the letter. I mean, it's just the first one. If you have a plan, and let's say you're doing Bonnie and Clyde, and you're like, okay, you got a plan, and it was just going to be something, you know, if she was alive, you could, you know, keep showing, and as soon as they would have been able to prove she's alive, they'd have a much better shot. But she already died before they even wrote it, in my opinion, that letter. Like, you might think that they wrote it beforehand, but they, you know, let's just say she wasn't even alive when they wrote it. So that means that they wrote it in a desperate manner to try to, afflict, you know, like try to get the biggest emotional response from Savannah. I think they almost felt like they were just going to send it to them and then they'll give it to Savannah and not involve cops. You know, it was weird. I don't know why they thought that, and then Savannah gets it, and they were hoping that, oh my God, you know, she'll just quickly send the money over. But that's the part that's weird, is that they put, you got 7 days will keep her alive in there. But for me, that feels like maybe their inexperience made them put 7 days because they wanted to oversell that she's still alive. You know, I got 7 days. Yeah, she'll still be alive in 7 days. Boy, we're taking good care of her. But she's not even alive right then.
Yeah, and on the tip of overselling that, oh, we just happen to be, you know, somewhere 12 hours or less away. Like, why even put in the 12 hours out there? Because the main reason of doing that is that I want the reader to believe that I am far away and distant. That's why I would put that in there. It wouldn't necessarily be because it would true. It's because by saying that, then the implication is that you're not nearby. You're far away. And now the people who are the mastermind people love to jump all over that because they're like, aha, yeah, see, that is a mastermind working from a distance, you know. But the people who did this, I believe, had knowledge of the local roads and cameras. And so I just can't conceive that this mastermind. Like, it sounds to me that something someone would put in there if they were a local, but they wanted you to think they were a long ways away. In other words,
Well,
I'm
that's what I
going
was
to
saying,
tell
yeah.
you the opposite.
That's what I was saying, yeah. Like the 12 hours is, you're just trying to make it, wow, we'll get it back to with 12 hours. It's being really ambiguous, so you could be all the way in Mexico, you could be in California almost. I mean, it's like, it's a long drive, but there might be right there. So they want you to look further out. That's why they throw that in there.
I mean, that's why, it's like overselling to the obvious points, where a normal person, I think, like if they consulted you and they said, Gray, how do we compose this in such a way that it really looks legit? You'd laugh them to 10 ways a Sunday about this time estimations and hour estimations and day estimations, and it sounds weird. Like, what, you knew she was going to be alive for 7 days, even though she came out of the house bleeding, but you knew she was going to be alive for 7 days, no problem. And you knew that you were somewhere around 12 hours away. You're way, way distant. That you want to let us know this. I don't know. It just, we've always had problems with the first letter.
Yeah. Well, the first letter, we don't even know. We still don't know what was in the first letter. These people, they have fancy titles like, hey, we're going to the full letter. We didn't see the full letter. Put the if you think you're telling us the full letter, just do put it in a scanner and upload it so we can all look at the letter where it demands the amount, the times, and all the different words. I think the second one, we have the full letter. That it's short. But we don't know what's in the first one totally, just some of the verbiage. And she even words it like that. There might be stuff that they keep telling her, hey, don't say this, don't say that.
I wondered about that, right?
Yeah.
Because that would be a good reason why she wouldn't say the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will tell you that odd tone going on in the background while they were talking. I was thinking, like, I knew it wasn't you. I knew you hadn't edited it that way to put that tone in the background while she was talking, Brianna. And so I was thinking, they must have discussed and talked with each other. Well, what do we want in the background? Do we want it to be silent? Or do we want something there that sounds, that brings a little bit of drama into the situation? Cue the music. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I put the music in there. I did that. Well, no, that was when I was reading that other thing.
Right, the Brianna thing. Right, when you can hear it in the background and that constant music. It's almost like a tone that's waiting for a song to kick off.
Oh, yeah, her music. Yeah. They'll probably, like YouTube will go, yeah, that's copyrighted music. They always do shit like that. Just stupid crap.
And I kept thinking, like, they had to have that discussion, like, oh, well, do you want to just have a regular silent background? Do you want some noise in the background? What do you want? And they had to say, well, we want something kind of dramatic, because the whole tone sounds like, I don't know. But I didn't care for it, to be honest. I would have just preferred silence in the background, and I did not like the fact that they chose to put music in that background.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that. That was kind of like when I read that whole thing from on the Substack. I had the dramatic music playing.
And as soon as I heard Brianna talking about the mastermind, I just knew the other channels were going to jump all over that and say, and then I heard one of them actually say, yes, well, this confirms that the web was there, and the mastermind was pulling the strings, and this is the chef and the cook thing that I was telling you about, and I was just thinking,
oh, really,
God,
chef and the cook, oh boy.
Here we go again, and basically, so it was like a vindication for them when they heard her saying that, because it was basic, aha, yes, we have confirmation, third party mastermind, and I knew that they were going to jump on that, but I still feel the most likely scenario is two people, Gray.
Yeah, that looks like a walkie-talkie, and the whole timing of the car would make sense. You wouldn't want it sitting there for too long. I got kind of sold on that theory later. I'm not sure when that was. I think it was the ransom notes that made us revisit that or something.
Is there any way with your, and not that it would matter, or maybe it would be interesting, I don't know if you've looked into it, but with your ability on imaging that you could really go over and see whether or not that was a different night that person came there in the same gear?
Well, it sort of looks like it. I mean, unless it's just because the quality's so bad you can't see the shadows, but there's no shadow. Apparently, like the moon was out or something, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just means that it was earlier and the moon wasn't in a position where it would create a shadow or something. I don't know.
I hear different accounts, one way or the other, and I always thought, like, well, if there's one person who would get to the bottom of that, dealing with two different sets of images, that you would be able to pick it apart and say, listen, I can tell you definitively, or at least, a very confident high level that it's this way versus this way. I'd like to know if he was there on the same night or if he came there on a different night dressed in the same gear.
Yeah.
Minus the backpack.
I'd
like to know that.
It'd be interesting if he had the same, that means he didn't buy the clothing that week, or, that
Exactly.
day. He would have had it for a few weeks.
Yeah, well, I just wish they wouldn't piecemeal the letter, because I just feel it cheapens it, kind of. It's kind of like, we're going to give you a little bit at a time. And, it's the same thing that media does with their stories, where they milk you, like they'll know more than what they're telling you, and they'll only tell you this much, and, I don't like that, but maybe, like you said, they're in the background in her ear telling her there's certain parts of this that we don't want you to release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, anyway, Gray, you've had one heck of a night, and I just want to compliment the freaks again for one heck of a show. And
yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. So thanks, you guys.
I couldn't. It was funny. It was funny because I was trying to focus on everything that was happening in the chat, and meanwhile listening to what you were saying, and like trying to do both at the same time. And I found out like I was not a good multitasker. Like I could focus in on the chat, no problem. But as soon as I focused in on you, then I'd get away from the chat. But that's how active it was. I mean, that's how rolling it was, So pretty good night.
Yeah, I always get a little bit like I need people to be communicating. It's like if I'm doing a show and I'm just the only one talking and I'm not able to, like if, I don't know, other shows you watch, everybody's talking, and I can pick a comment out and go, oh yeah, and talk about that, but sometimes there's like zero comments. So I know I'm just so interesting that people are just listening intently, but I don't know. I'd rather have people type.
I want to bring it up. I want to bring it up because when you brought up the AI thing and you were talking about that, and there was like the lull in the chat, and I'll tell you what was going on in my mind. I was listening to, and I was trying to process it, right? Because an AI breaking out and doing certain things and trying to tie it into the case, and I'm like, well, where can I go with this? What can I say? And I don't want to put something in there that says, well, interesting, Gray, or like, I want to put something in there that sounds more worthy than that. And I didn't really have anything to come back.
I just want people to say it's spooky. I mean, it actually is just like War Games or Terminator. I mean, you're literally having AI, you have an AI bot or whatever break out of its controlled environment all by itself because it was better for itself. I mean, that's almost like a sentient being. That's what they, I mean, it's
Do you want
weird.
to play a game?
Right. How about a nice game of chess or whatever the hell it was? Checkers.
Oh, yeah,
checkers.
My favorite.
Remember
my
that?
favorite.
I think it was right at the end. Remember that? When Matthew Broderick finally got it to come around. What was the thing? Oh, yeah, they overwhelmed it with something. Like playing checkers. Because it really couldn't lose to itself or something. So it just kept playing really quick. And then it said, how about a nice game of chess at the very end, I think.
Yeah. Reminds me of one of the last lines of the Lawnmower
Man. Oh, it's tic-tac-toe.
If you ever saw that one.
That's right. It was tic-tac-toe, Lori said. That's right. That's what it was.
But yeah, I mean, I got what you were saying, right? But I was trying to think, like, well, where can I even saw the movies. I knew the movies that you were referencing, but I was trying to tie it in to like say something that was worthwhile, and I was just struggling at that moment because I was so focused like on the case itself that now this extra thing that's brought in, I'm trying to make a connection that you're not gonna look at in the chat and scoff at. You know, I want you to like, okay,
that's okay.
That was a good comment.
I was just thinking, I was trying to make a connection, like, given all the technology and stuff we have now, seems like somebody could easily, obviously, whoever put this together, and they were going to get the Bitcoin. They did it in a way, and that looked like she was going to be explaining some things that was pretty interesting in that article about, like, it just goes from one crypto account to another, bouncing around all over the place, and then it's just hard to track, especially in countries where you need a subpoena for each one of those, and blah, blah, blah. It just kept going on and on and on. But I was just thinking, like, about tech, and now it's getting crazier and crazier, and then that made me think of that. Yeah.
And she also goes on in the video to point out that she felt that there's a possibility that the people were not from this country who were at the Guthrie property that night.
Yeah, because
she went on and said that.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that. It was just like, because they use the word what was
USD.
Yeah, the US dollars, and also that word, perished. Yeah, that was basically it in there.
So, I mean, and that was something even I said, like, who's going to use the word perish if you're trying to grieve with somebody who lost somebody and you're trying to show, I mean, you could, right? But, you look at more of the word perish is almost one of those words that you use to distance yourself from what happened. So when you say she perished, you're not saying who did it. You're just saying it happened. She perished, which is a lot different than something that places the blame on you, and so I just, I don't know. I just think that word is suspect. And but here's the thing that you go back and forth with is that, okay, well, if they weren't from this country, how did they know the camera setup? How did they know to get around without being seen? So then you have to come back to that square and reconcile that. And ultimately you would have to, well, you don't necessarily have to, but then that would mean the police know what the vehicle is, or they somehow outwitted it. But more than likely they would have to know the roads, and they would have to know the lights. And I really doubt that they're going to be driving Nancy, dead or alive, in a car for 12 hours. And, hey, let's pull into McDonald's and make sure you get a Super Mac or a Big Mac. And
dead or alive, you're coming with me. Hey, what movie was that? Anybody? Come on. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Or that was better. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. And
sounds like something Clint Eastwood would say.
Kind of, but it was actually, come on, 1, 2, 3, come on, somebody. You guys know it. Somebody out there knows it, man. I bet you Karen knows it. It was, okay, I gave you 2 more seconds. 1, 2, it was... No. Okay, it's too late. RoboCop. Don't you remember that?
You had a good one the other night. I believe you said, you can't handle the truth.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was a great movie, too, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I like all those old movies. Those are great, But, yeah, Gray, as usual, I've chewed my way into the stratosphere where, the calls went too long, and we don't like that. But I do want to say thanks for having me on tonight, and always a good time.
Well, how'd everything go, though, in your procedure today?
Well, so they did their old, shall we say, not being too specific, they did their old blast-o-matic. And what was funny was they kind of like fibbed, which I didn't like, because they said beforehand, when I met with the guy beforehand, they specifically said, well, we don't know whether we're going to place another stent today or just pull them all out. We don't know that. And we won't know that until we get in there. And nobody did any CAT scans. Nobody saw anything of what it looked like. And then before they put me out, the nurse comes in, the ER or the nurse that's, the main nurse comes in and she says, I've got the order here, and the order says that they're going to replace the one stent and pull the other one. And I'm thinking, well, this guy already knows what he's going to do. He's telling me, I might not, when you already know what you're going to do, because here's the order. Here's the order that says that you're going to replace the stent, which I didn't want to hear, Gray, because what that meant was I got another 2 weeks with one more stent left before they yanked that one. And then they didn't leave me with the option to manually extract it.
Well, did they get rid of they got rid of all the stones though, right?
They did. Well, as far as I know, yeah. As far as I know, they dusted them. Yeah.
Well, good. There you go. So
yeah. So, but I mean, Gray, these stents are not cool. Like if you know about them, and well, you don't know about them, but if you did know about them, they would we won't go into the symptoms, but people in the chat who've dealt with those know what the symptoms are when you have those in. And it's just not a feeling that you want to like, oh yeah, I don't mind them being there and that's great. And they'll just stay there as long as they need to be. That's not the sensation that you get. But we got the recovery in the time frame and then we're going to be back to normal.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thanks for asking, but, yeah, great job on the set. Looks cozy. I like the evidence part on the other one. It's like not the caller number, but I like that. I thought that was really good, because it's kind of like lays it in what this channel's about, evidence, We're not about, non-evidence. So I like that. But great job on that. I don't know how long that took, but however long it took, great job.
Quite a while, but yeah, it's cool. I use like AI and stuff to do it, but like it's like you gotta keep doing it over and over until you get everything. Like they'll make a window too small, and then you have to say, okay, keep that window. I like the shape of it, but make it smaller, move it over, and then they send it back. Okay, that's not right either. Okay, and it just takes forever, but you can't really. It's hard to get all the stuff in a real scene, like with the hats and the typewriter and all that shit. In the partly drawn shade, I like it. Nice touch. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That part and and now the voice things in the background almost makes like you got this fire flicker going on. Well, that's what I said. It looks like a fire, but if they can do the one, it looks more like a waveform when I turn it on to stereo, because then it does it on both sides the same wave, so it looks kind of cool. Yeah, I did that while you're. I like the fire thing because it's cozy. It fits with the scene. It's like I'm thinking of doing is putting the same wave in there again, but then making it like an orange and a little smaller, so it fits. It'll have the exact same movements, but it'll look even more like a flame. So I think I'm going to do that. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Well, freaks, if you notice what Gray's work is, this is not about a guy who's checking out. This is about a guy who's digging in. Look at him. He's working on his brand. He's putting his stuff together so we can look at it and say, hey, this guy wants to, be on the scene. It's not somebody who's like, oh, we do things always the way that we always done them. He changes things up. And so you got to give the man credit for that and the job that he did, which I just think, top of the line set. Good job. Well, thank you. All right. Well, we'll sign out for tonight, but thanks for asking about the health. We're on the road to recovery. Good. Life is good. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Thanks for calling in. Take care, Greg. All right. See you. Bye. Yep. Jason Bourne. Let's see. I'm trying to. It's like somebody just kept randomly texting me over and over. I don't even know who this is. Is it possible that the front porch had the camera in his pocket from the front porch after being removed, and when walking around to the back of the house, That is the other motion that he picked up. No. No. And there's, how did they know that there was two different cameras? Because the in the system it says what camera it was, So they were able to retrieve the footage from the doorbell camera. The next one is at 2:12, motion detected in the back of the house. Yeah, that's a different camera. There's two cameras in the backyard, and there was one in the front. And I know it was one of the ones in the back because he said. He made the animal reference. He said, well, I guess it could have been an animal. And it says, all the Nest cameras are connected on the same circuit, and when he pulls the camera off the front porch, it's going to continue to record if it's in his pocket. Yeah, we've gone through that a lot. Yeah, maybe they do have something in his pocket. And why do people keep saying he was covering up the camera with the weeds? I don't know why people keep saying that. We don't say that at all. We say that he took the camera off with the stem of the weed. So, anyways, is this you can see, this is enough screen to see though, right? Like it's still pretty big. Are you guys able to see this? All right. Cool. So basically the new set currently, unless I think of another reason, is just this one. That's like the first set if I just come on or something. You don't really have to have, the anything. It's just talking. If there's, the alert box is still on here. So if somebody sent in a super chat or something, it would show up on that screen. It's just sort of like the hello everybody screen, Then there's this one. This is where we put all the evidence and stuff on there. This one is just kind of like evidence, this is the stuff here. But then this is the main scene, and then when we do call-ins, we get this one right here, where I'm over there. There's a caller. You get the waveform of the caller, the phone number, etc. Does it look pretty good? Who's watching this on TV? Does it look pretty good on the television? Other than my face? Yeah, I think I'll keep this one for a long time. Maybe I'll add something or slightly change it, but it'll be the same. The color scheme and everything, I like it. It's way more, like even the window color over there has got the true crime color in there, and then just the whole look. Yeah, so there you go. Oh, it looks good on the 60-inch. Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad with the brick, is it? That's an actual vinyl. That's not a real brick, though. I could do a green screen. I used to do a green screen a long time ago. I used to have a whole bar set up where this guy was mixing, a 3D character was mixing drink, and I was sitting on a table. It's kind of weird. I wouldn't mind if I had a black background, though. That would look kind of neat. Yeah, just total black background. But I also like the new Gray Hughes Investigates logo. I think that would look cool on a hat or something, just right up in the front. Or the GHI thing. There, maybe I can show those. Let's see if I've got a couple of those somewhere. Let's see. I'll be in a studio. Three, four. Yeah. Like that. Isn't that cool? Like that's the logo. That one's way better than the one before, I think. Doesn't there'd be transparent background though. But see that? That's pretty cool. GHI with the little magnifying glass in there. You got that, and then there's sort of like this one is sort of the, you know, the bigger logo, right? But this one would be cool on a hat or something. Yeah, maybe I'll have to make some new merch or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, maybe I need to make a version where it's just the puppy camera, or we can just switch over to that. All right. Well, I'll work on something. Maybe I'll even make little, you know, noir dog images around. Maybe a couple photographs of a patch. Yeah, something. Mm-hmm. A bobblehead? The heck? Yeah, let's see if let me just try to goof around with this for a minute. There's a waveform. If I did another one. Yeah, spectralizer. 2. And then what if I made like a orange? Oh yeah, then I'm gonna switch it to wire. Oh yeah, and then audio source is there. Testing. And then where's the one where it fills it in? Filled. All right, there it is, way over there. So what if I could testing? Oh, it's totally different. I don't know. 111. Wow, what's the setting on the first one? I want to see if I can make it look like a fire. All right, so it's 0.69. 62. All right, I'll just keep this over here. And was it on this one? Yeah, the phone. All right. So I got to make sure these are all the same. Man, it switches the screen. I have to do a screenshot then. You know what? I'm not going to waste people's time. I'll just do this different, do it on my own. I'll see if I can make it look more like a fire. And then, maybe, then maybe I could even have a scene where it looks like a fireplace. It's still got the noir look, but a fireplace in the background. And then while I'm talking, it looks like there's a fire going on. That'd be pretty crazy, wouldn't it? Yeah. All right, so we have... Let's go over here. Actually, I'll use this one. So yeah, Karen at the beginning of the show there. Then Paul Marino watching shows the morning after. Gray, I've been having problems. Well, yeah, because the show that from yesterday I didn't even do one, and the day before that I deleted because I didn't like the way I was in it. Plus, the show had so few people watching, it felt like just embarrassing, you know. All right, so we got that one, and then KMTX, and then Six Kids UK, then Chicken Wing, then Paul Marino, then Michelle H. Then all of a sudden it got crazy. Then we had Chris O'Cuddle with 10, Carl with a C, 5, then Chris O'Connell with 5, then Carl with a C, 10, then Chris O'Connell with 10, and then Carl with a C, 10, and then Chris O'Connell with 10, matching. They're just battling back and forth. Then Karen jumped in there with 10, and then Carl with a C5. I mean, these are 5 gifted memberships, not just $10. So 10 is $50. And then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Carl with a C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Carl with a C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Carl with a C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Carl with a C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Carl with this C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Carl with a C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Wild Bill Wassman. Then Carl with a C gifted 1. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 1. Then Carl with a C gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. They're just battling back and forth. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Wild Bill Wassman. Carl with a C. Then Chris O'Connell. Then Wild Bill Wassman. Then Carl with a C did a double cat eye, 99, and then that was Chris O'Connell. I mean, that was Carl with a C did that. Then Chris O'Connell followed that up with her own, thanks to the trolls, by the way. And then we had Carl with a C did a cat eye, the avocado dance, and then Chris O'Connell did an avocado dance. Then we had Wild Bill Wassman, Kelly, Maya Leah, Wild Bill Wassman, Karen, and that tonight's show should make up for like yesterday and a little bit of the day before. Or maybe even, a little, just about like that. I didn't even do a show yesterday. I mean, that's my own. Then DDWM, 25 months of pure hell. Then Myalea, and then Karen. And thank you as well, Karen, for your, you sent a couple PayPals in plus that, so thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so how about tomorrow we do the Cal Ripken story, which is kind of crazy. It makes you realize that, man, sometimes you just can't solve these damn things. It's kind of similar, though. And thank you guys so much for the support tonight. And, I'm sorry that some of you have to deal with what the trolls say when they come in, but they're just losers, in their real life. They must get up and look at their face in the mirror and just be like, God, I suck, because they're just terrible people. I mean, it's like, why don't you just deal with your own life, you guys? It's crazy. So anyways, I'm sorry you guys have to deal with those. Thanks, mods, for getting rid of all those people at the time. I really appreciate it. What's that? Yellow or gray either, but I still don't want a lot of... I don't even know what that means. All right. Well, anyways, thanks, you guys. Hope you guys at least found the show part interesting. I thought it was pretty... listening to 2 different interviews like that, it seemed like there was information that we didn't really have. So, I think Angelica is out there somewhere near that same area. Angelica Brophy, and I think it might be really difficult to find Nancy Guthrie, especially if it is a wrench. Well, I mean, the 2 people, if there is a wrench attack and there's a mastermind, there's a better chance, because possibly the 2 or 1 person that actually was with her when she died and buried her somewhere, still out there, the mastermind person is never going to say a damn thing. Well, thanks, Jason. All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. If you guys hit that like button on the way out the door, that'd be awesome. We will see you guys tomorrow. And who the hell knows what tomorrow will bring. I wish I could change the color of Super Chats to match the color scheme, but I'll live with it. It's no big deal. Anyways, I did fix these. You know, like, see how look at that. That matches nicely, right? See that? That was a good one with the coffee mug in there. You know, like, I think my logo looks pretty cool on there, too. Watch. See that? I'm really liking that one comparatively to the other one. So, anyways, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Maybe I should put this inside of a frame that looks noir-y. But one last thank you to Carl with a C and Chris O'Connell for that incredible battle back and forth and generosity. Really appreciate it. Makes a big difference. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And again, as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Correct.
Evil can never be dead enough.
And some of you make shit up.
You love that Pac-Man sound. What a great invention.